Every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Welcome to the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC. ADSC is an organization focused on training and research to advance sustainable development and growth in Africa. We exist to facilitate customized training, research, and study exchanges worldwide on leadership, management, and critical development issues. The center offers a platform for the exchange of ideas and best practices. Our comprehensive services encompass research, consultancy, capacity building, training, and education programs, as well as publishing and disseminating development-related knowledge. Our faculty consists of experts and researchers with extensive experience in policy formulation, implementation techniques, and monitoring and evaluation. Our methodology involves talks, individual and group exercises, games, video screenings, and discussion seminar sessions in a cozy atmosphere, making learning enjoyable for our participants. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website at www.adstudiescenter.com to learn more about our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
I was in Nigeria up until SS1 third term, SS2, and after that I moved to France where I did my A levels, and then after that I moved to England where I did my undergrad, and then my master's I did in America. And European culture is European culture, right? For me, it's actually quite interesting because I learned so much more about Africa outside Africa, right? Because in the education I had in secondary school, there wasn't really much focus on our history or the greatness that Africa was. It almost seemed more like propaganda history, that our history pretty much just started slightly before colonization, and everything else we've become is either our journey to independence and carrying on the system that we're left with, right? Unfortunately, schooling abroad brought this Afrocentric idea into my consciousness. Books about researchers that showed our history that goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, Timbuktu, the Great Empire of Mali, learn about people like Mansa Musa, connecting migrations from what is present-day Nigeria in the southwest up until the Nile Valley, and the different movements, migration patterns that happened between those two civilizations, right? Aside that, the governance, giving one a higher expectation of what one should expect from government, giving one a higher expectation of what democracy should be or what it should look like, because you can't really operate outside of what you've been exposed to. You know, when the mind has been expanded, it cannot go back to its former size, right? And experiencing what quality education is like, experiencing what good governance is like, experiencing a health system that works, a health system that is checking on people before they get sick because they know that on the long run that will keep the cost of healthcare coverage lower. Preventative medicine as opposed to constantly solving problems as they're happening. Understanding the value of data-driven policy, and how all these come together to create a system that works and that people can thrive in. Understanding the value of people paying taxes, right? And the services they get in return of those taxes. I think these are some of the things that I got from my exposure schooling abroad. And then when I moved back to Nigeria, I did my NYSC. And then I started working. I worked in some architecture firms while also running mine and getting some projects, and then went into business. And then when I wanted to go into politics, after leading a GMO campaign alongside other notable patriotic Nigerians, I decided that, experiencing leading a 2,000-man march on the Senate and understanding how they responded to us, which in my opinion did not show people that actually prioritize the well-being of their people, I felt that it's important to go into politics. Okay, so I ran for student council president in high school and won. So politics that way, yeah, you can say since I was 19, having an idea, having the manifesto and selling that idea, understanding problems and proffering solutions and implementation strategies. Yeah, so I can say 18, 19. When I came back and after the GMO, for those that don't know, genetic modified foods, we led a 2-year campaign against the Ministry of Agriculture that was chaired at the time by Akinwumi Adesina to prevent the adoption of genetic modified foods in Nigeria. And that process, engaging with politicians and our representatives, I felt that Nigerians deserve better. And I'm not one to just complain and point fingers or tweet on social media. I believe if you engage in something, you need to see it all the way. So I ran for local government chairman. But before that, I actually went to Unilag and got a master's in research and public policy. Now, I had some very brilliant professors, without a doubt, some very, very brilliant professors. People like Professor Jikutu, people like Professor Logbenla, Onoha, a number of very brilliant people. But at the same time, in relation to the level of organization, there's still a way to go, and I think this also comes down to funding our universities properly, ensuring that our professors are well paid, ensuring that we have enough professors, because a lot of our professors, they are taking so many classes with so many students and they have to bring in their A game to all of these things. We need to prioritize education a lot more in this country, Nigerians are some of the most brilliant human beings in this world. Brilliant, and I'm talking, I just named 3 different countries that have operated in terms of education. And then there are some other 4 countries that have done work in and I currently have interest in. And Nigerians are there and they are doing wonderful things, right? So we're an intelligent group of people. What we need are the structures and organization that create an enabling environment for us to thrive. I mean, think about what it takes to be successful in this country today. Think about what it takes to be successful in Lagos. Now, imagine a government that puts everything in place and is more like a partner than, this person that's just trying to take from me, right? You would experience an exponential increase in wealth. I think that a person that values education must have had a very good education. If you don't value education, it's a reflection of your own education. I can't think of somebody that's experienced good education that will not prioritize education, because you will know the power of education. And this goes to show when we talk about how it's okay for someone with a NEPA certificate to be our president, and we see the ruin that it brought Nigeria to, or a person that's using lawyers to hide the certificates, right? It will reflect in the quality of your education. So I feel that we need to start demanding more from people that aspire to lead us. Go and look at the quality of education that the leaders of America got. They either went to Yale or Harvard or recently Princeton, Ivy League schools. The top of us have to lead. This idea that you can just pick anybody to lead you to where? This person is like this with you. Where is he leading you to? What vision is this person bringing that is outstanding? Your leader should be outstanding. He cannot be, or she cannot be part of the flock. You understand? They must be outstanding, either in their strength of character. So you look at America when they want to select their president, George Washington. Why? Because when there was war, the man stood in front. He was a leader. Intelligence, he was a leader. These were people that were inventors. Benjamin Franklin. These were people that were inventing things. They were not just thought leaders. They were on ground. They were policy leaders. They were kings in their own right. It was not a commoner. And I don't mean commoner in the sense of money. You see, people think it's just about money. No, it's about what are your values? What are you willing to stand for? What do you stand for? Right? If the wind blows, you just move to the place that favors your pocket. You clearly don't have a backbone. So how can you lead? And people will say, okay, they just want somebody that they can associate with. Yes, but associate with in what way? In poverty and failure and mediocrity, or in success and a vision that benefits you, your family, and your children, and the greater society, right? Because if you think about it, I say this thing in most interviews I do. My father tells me that his father told him that Nigeria was better in his day. My father told me Nigeria was better in his day. My father graduated, there were jobs, you could get a car, like only the man had to work, the wife could be a housewife, and they were comfortable. They did not need to steal, to travel, to go on holiday, right? He came into that, quality education, there was public education, right? His father was a judge. His father's driver could send his child to the same school as his boss's son. And they got quality education. Now, I can tell my children that I remember a time when Nigeria was better. When I would change 1 million naira and get 4,000 pounds. I can barely get 1 million naira now with 500 pounds. Do you understand? So it's perpetually in a nosedive. And why is that? Lack of continuity in quality leadership and visionary leadership, right? No leader that is truly focused on creating a Nigerian identity that celebrates our uniqueness and our differences and sees that as a resource as opposed to something that divides us, right? People that are traveling to the UAE, they are going there to enjoy the culture. And this culture is old, it's ancient, but they've repackaged it. That makes people want to come and visit, want to come and spend their hard-earned money there, right? And this is the visionary type of ideas I'm talking about that will create jobs, right? Well, you know, it's a very interesting one. I grew up in Nigeria where I went to ISL, and speaking traditional languages was called, there's a word for it, starts with C, not vernacular, there was something else. There's another word, it starts with a C. You could not do that. It was against the school rules, right? And you get punished for that. And then even at the time, there was this whole idea of this person, this is local. Like young people, I remember young people saying that is local. The people were not interested with identifying with Nigerian music. Then it was hip hop, it was about Biggie, Puff Daddy, you know, international music. I'm sure I'm betraying my age now. Well, my age is not 80 now, 42. But I'm talking about the time where nobody was wearing trad. We grew up seeing our parents wearing suits, trousers and shirts, you know. And like I said, I don't feel that the education that we got in Nigeria really laid any foundation for you to look deeper into our history, into our culture. And I know this now because I've experienced education elsewhere. And I know how the British lay emphasis on their history. So that even if you're an art student or a science student, you had an in-depth knowledge of the history of your people. And this history is not just a linear one. It's one that is connecting different events and moments and always trying to show your people to be great, right? So you see the British will hide the idea of the part they played in slavery and enslavement. It will not be prominent in the history, but where they conquered or where they uprooted slavery from the African continent, the role they played in doing that will be highlighted, right? That is curated. Now you might say that's not right, it's not fair, but they're programming their citizenry. And that is what a thinking government will prioritize. Same thing with America, right? So I don't really feel we had that in our education system. But then there was an Afrocentric awakening that happened later on. And this had also happened earlier. The kind of thinking that informed people like Nnamdi Azikiwe when he traveled to America, the kind of thinking that informed Fela Anikulapo Kuti when he traveled to America, or even to England, where he met Afro-British people that knew the histories of Africa, that awoken that idea in him, in Fela, in Nnamdi Azikiwe, in a number of Africans, in Kwame Nkrumah, right? They didn't get it at home, they got it elsewhere, and they came and they brought that, we are African, we are great, black is beautiful, you know? And when you open that doorway, it then starts to lead you into understanding your culture more, understanding the depth of it, you see? And it's not our fault, right? We're conquered, our kings were removed. At least the kings that had the courage to fight, they were removed, they were exiled, some were killed. Our people were kidnapped with the collaboration of some Africans. Our people were kidnapped and sold. Some of the strongest men were kidnapped and sold. So you have diaspora cousins and everybody outside of the country, the few that were saved, you know, were brought back. But you now had a situation of religion. And unfortunately, the religion that came through in partnership with colonization pretty much said to us that everything that we were before them was bad, was evil, was demonic. So you have a people that claim that they are from a certain tribe, speak the language, but the depth of the thinking they associate with being evil. So there's still a significant level of identity crisis that we struggle with. And you don't really see that with Indians who were colonized by the British. You don't really see it with the Chinese who also dealt with their own level of colonization, nor the Japanese, right? And you see, understanding your identity or crafting your identity as a people, because China, as we're seeing it today, was not just monolithic. It was not just one group of people. There are huge, different groups of people all over China, different tribes, but they were united by a visionary king. Similar thing happened in Japan, right? Similar thing happened in England, right? In England, you had part in what you call England, or what was Great Britain or England at a point. You had the Welsh, you had the Scottish, you had the Irish, right? You know, and they were united at a point by a conqueror, right? So sometimes you also craft identity. Sometimes identity is created by facing a threat that is bigger than all of you independently. So you have to come together to face that. And sometimes it's just visionary leadership, right? You see visionary leadership in Singapore with Lee Kuan Yew. We saw that creates an identity that you can be proud of. Like there is no China man now, or even if there will be very few that will not be proud of China and not want to be associated with the bigger identity of China as opposed to their identity as a tribe. because China is so great and it pays you to be associated with it. It is when there's a failure in that bigger identity that people recoil back to their smaller identity, right? And that's what you find going on in a lot of places. But all in all, yeah. I think the government, you see, what has happened is because we've had governments or politicians that don't really have a vision to sell, they rely on selling division. Because the classic divide and rule strategy. If you have a vision, you want to sell a vision and unite people. Visions unite people, right? So you sell a vision, so people unite behind the vision. When you don't have a vision, so you sell the vision so that people can be separated. When you separate people, it's easier to rule over them. And you see that has happened significantly from the last election, right? And you then see in how the government has ruled this country. Significant nepotism, significant levels of corruption, significant levels of lack of transparency or accountability. You see that the government is very extractive without really paying any attention to being accountable to the people they want to extract from. You see that they talk about stopping subsidy payments. And there was a hope that those monies that would have otherwise been used for subsidies would have been put to make life easier for the Nigerian. Life is not easier for the Nigerian. Inflation rates are at an all-time high, right? Insecurity is at an all-time high. For the first time in decades, we're having a foreign country bombing our land, our territory, which is an indictment on the failure of our security system. And you think about how much money is spent on these things, on our army, on our military, that goes unaccounted for. And you see how corruption is rewarded by ambassadorial appointments. So there's a lot of politicking as opposed to governance. And it is in quality governance, creating excellence in governance, where you are moving away from personalities to institutions, and people are now normalizing an excellent standard of service, right? So it's no more about the personality, it's about the quality of governance. Once that starts to be ticked, right, people will start to embrace the idea of Nigeria. When Nigeria is playing football, nobody is saying that man is from this tribe, this person is from this tribe, especially if we are doing well. Everybody wants to be associated with that greatness that is Nigeria. When I finished school, I'm telling you, I went to school where you did not have to leave the school to get the best jobs. Those companies came to do interview on campus. And I'm saying that myself and all my friends that were Nigerian were rushing to move back to Nigeria. It's not that we did not have the jobs or the potential jobs. We were so excited about Nigeria at the time under President Obasanjo, what he had achieved, the quality of his governance, the quality of his ministers, that there was a significant fear of missing out. And so many people, and I tell this to young people today, that there was a time where people were rushing back from countries like America, from England, and they can't imagine it, So it's about creating good governance, creating excellence in governance, and everybody wants to be associated with success and greatness. There was a time where we had governments that were very empathetic to the common man. They were welfarist to an extent. Governments like Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, and that was really the ideology of Obafemi Awolowo. It was very welfarist. So civil servants did not have to hustle for housing. They had quality housing in prime areas. Affordable housing was a priority. It was prioritizing the people that were the middle class, that were the working class. That is the role of government. But you find that now government is more fixated on producing properties or being involved in properties for the rich. Whether it is how they are allocating land, whether it is in how they are sand filling. I mean, how many Nigerians can afford to live at SOUQ Atlantic? I read this year where they were proudly talking about how they are sand filling and reclaiming land in some parts of Lagos for housing. By the time you've done all of that, your unit cost will be so significant that no average person will be able to afford to live there. Meanwhile, we have huge tracts of land in Ojo, Amuwo, Badagry, Ikorodu, Ekpe, Ibeju-Lekki that we can channel proper urban planning, bring in industries there, and focus on creating infrastructure that makes people want to live there. And then creating local governments that are independent in themselves. So most of the major services you need are in there. So nobody's going from Ikeja to Yaba for school. These are things that cause traffic. It's like the boroughs in London. You cannot even get into a borough outside of where you pay your council tax. Why? Because your taxes are used to fund the schools in that community. So it's a direct correlation. So your child can get into schools in the immediate vicinity of where you live. And that local council is doing their best to create affordable housing, council flat, and unemployment benefits, things like that, from the taxes. You understand? And that's what is missing significantly here. You've talked about flooding. Flooding is tied to our drainage systems and it's tied to our waste disposal systems and waste management systems, right? That in itself is also tied to the traffic that we have, especially in rainy season. It's also tied to traffic outside of rainy season because if your water is not draining properly, it's destroying your roads. That's how we then get potholes. That also causes traffic. That also spoils cars. We then leads to cars breaking down the road. We then leads to traffic. So it's an entire holistic system that must be solved in a holistic way. And there's a famous saying that you can never solve a problem from the same headspace or mindset in which that problem was created. You must step out of it to solve that problem. So this problem must be solved in a holistic way. Why are our gutters still open? All these our elites, they're not even elite. Our politicians, our political leaders, they travel abroad. Shibe, our president, has gone to, I think he's gone somewhere to Europe and then the Middle East. I'm sure he's not seeing open gutters when he goes to Dubai, right, or England or France, right? I'm sure he knows of the proper drainage systems in these places, right? So we need to do better as the people. I even think it's wrong to use Lagos as a mirror. You cannot compare Lagos to any other state in this country. Lagos first was a water-facing arm for the Benin Empire at a point, which was very powerful at a point. It was, aside from the Awori and children of Olofin that came and settled it, the monarchy was from Benin, and it was a water-facing arm of the Benin Empire. Then Lagos then received all the influx of Europeans that came in for colonization. Lagos was the port in which Nigeria was formed. There was a time where all politics in Nigeria happened in Lagos. Everybody from all over came to Lagos. Think about the level of exposure. Think about the level of development from back then. Think about the level of commerce, level of finance from back then. Then you now had influx of returnees that had either paid for their freedom or people that were saved, that were never enslaved and got education in Sierra Leone, because that was where the first secondary school was, and came back. I'm talking about people like Samajai Crowder, grandfather of Herbert Macaulay, Henry Carr, H.O. Davis, and so many others that literally laid the foundation for the freedom and independence that we then got later on. Think about the intellectual capital that came in here. Think about all the skill sets that came into Lagos, the buildings that were built, the level of development, the amount of resource that came into Lagos with that. Then after that, Lagos then became this capital. Think about all the investments that came with that, all the infrastructure that was created by the Nigerian state before it now relocated to Abuja. And then today, Lagos is now the commercial capital. Most companies that exist in this country have their headquarters here. So it's extremely unfair to compare. Lagos State is like that child that has been blessed and blessed and blessed. You know, it's like all the other children were on the farm and all the prophets were just coming and blessing and blessing and blessing. It's not fair to compare Lagos to any other state. It cannot be compared. But yes, that's the one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the extreme need for infrastructure, right? Which, I mean, we have huge IGR because of the human beings that are here. So those money should be put into creating infrastructure for them to have a beautiful quality of life, to be more productive, to be able to earn more, which would then increase the IGR that Lagos generates, right? You know, so it's all tied into each other. Well, first of all, it's not a thing that's unique to me. You know, the APC Lagos especially, the APC Lagos arm of politics is bigotry. It's based on bigotry. I mean, there's still pictures of banners that were hung of Jimmy Agbaje being called Jimmy Chukwu, governor of the Southeast. He's a man that is blue blood from Ikorodu. We know his grandfather, we know his antecedents, we know what he did. This is not somebody that his history or his pedigree or his name or his age or his sex is under question or under any kind of controversy. We know him. We know his grandfather, we know his father, we know his family, right? And this is what they did. So anybody that seemingly rises to challenge the Tinubu hegemony, the first thing that is challenged is your Yorubaness, right? I remember when they were saying that even somebody like Padi Banjo, the reason why he supported Peter Obi or was anti-Tinubu was because his mother was Igbo. Or they said Obasanjo's father is this. Anytime somebody challenges the Tinubu hegemony, they attack your identity. They try to strip you of your Yorubaness. In my situation, unfortunately for them, they could not challenge my family. They could not challenge our history. There are all sorts of nonsense. But I give God the glory that my parents are alive. You know, I give God the glory that my family has a very good habit of keeping records, all the way to newspaper articles from the 1800s. So imagine if one did not have that. Imagine if one's parents were not alive and these people just came together with this propaganda. You start questioning, what's really going on? But I thank God, I come from a family that history has written a lot about, you know, so we know who we are. And as Lagosians, Amorawa, we know ourselves. Because one is in politics now, there are a lot more things that people are saying about me. But I've been Afrocentric for a very long time. All you need to do is go and read my blogs. I still have a blog under if you search for it, The Hopeful Nigerian. And I've been advocating for history to return back to our schools, our traditions, our culture. The idea that no, not everything that existed before the Rainbow Man came here was bad. Right? There's bad in everything. There are people that call themselves Muslims that are killing people. There are people that were calling themselves Christian that were doing crusades and massacring people. I mean, for goodness sake, the first slave ship that came to Nigeria, to Africa, was called Jesus. The Pope blessed people that were going to go and kill indigenous people all over the world. So there are good and bad people in every culture, in every belief system, right? And this idea that everything that we were before Christianity or any of the major religions means that we are bad. I've been against that for decades, right? And that's not common. That's not common in this part of the world. And I know the backlash that I got for that, but I'm somebody that fortunately I can afford to live my truth, you know. I can afford to do that. So what you saw is just me on my journey. A lot has been consistent. It's just now it is obvious. People are seeing it. It's in people's faces, and I'm coming of age. I'm growing, you know. My first title was the Obalefon of Lagos that I got from the Obatala Temple in Ife, right? And that ties into my belief system that, you know, there is an African spiritual science, right? The entire binary code in which we build our computers is based on African traditional science, right? The understanding of time not being linear, but being circular and intertwining, right? These are things that quantum physics is proving, right? So you find that we have known things from time that science, Western science, is just interpreting and bringing to common knowledge now, right? And that is something that I will grow in. And you know, as some will say, your head calls certain things to you, you know. So that title is something that I embrace because, you know, it's something that I've understood and it's something I value. It's very important to me. And then also I am the Are of Igbale Koka, which is the house that was headed by Justice Koka. He was the Oloriayo at a point, and Baba Isale of Lagos. So those are the titles that I have, that I got recently. As relates to Yoruba titles, I also have an Igbo title, Ochiaga of Ndibo in Lagos State. Aside that, I was initiated into the Awe Adimu, and as a son of Lagos, you know, these are things that we hold very dear to us. I mean, you've been around my house, I'm sure you've seen plenty of your paintings. And if you go into any indigenous house, most of them, you see something Eyo. It will just be there, right? Either it's the Okwan Bata and the hat, or a sculpture, or something, because it symbolizes our heritage, our ancestral heritage, our ancestral culture. It's our day to show, you know, who we are as a people, because Lagos, like I said, is a cosmopolitan port, so sometimes our identity gets lost, and there are always different groups that, you know, it's almost like when you talk about the history of Lagos, it's somehow covered by the history of Nigeria, because so much of the history of Nigeria happened in Lagos. But we have our own history, a very rich history, with a lot of intrigues, right? And Eyo Festival is for Lagos Island, a way of showing our uniqueness, our heritage, our culture. And that is not to say that it's only limited to Lagos Island. You know, we have brothers that are coming Ikorodu, coming from Ekpe, coming from Badagry, and then all of these places also have their own rich culture and heritage. Like the Zangbeto Festival in Badagry is amazing. I cannot wait for it to be properly mainstream, for the government to actually bring it into mainstream culture. You also have the masquerades in Ekpe and Ikorodu, masquerades all over the mainland, you know, all that Ikejai, Fakojai area, they have that culture there as well. These things need to be mainstreamed. They need to be brought into and repackaged, right? The tradition itself, the masquerades, the pageantry is beautiful, it's perfect. It's now the environment at which it operates, right? We need to create the environment that will pull tourists in, make them feel safe, make them feel comfortable, clean environments, right? That can now create these things to be renowned cultural experiences that people fly in because they want to come and see. Think about the Brazilian carnival, right? You know, I mean, yeah, things like that. We want people to fly in because this is how you generate income for those communities, and, you know, also puts us on that world map. 2025 was a very difficult year for a lot of people. I mean, 2024 was difficult because that was the first shock. But 2025 has not been easy at all. A lot of companies have laid off staff, right? Things are extremely expensive. Go and ask anybody that's about to pay their rent. They've seen their rents double. People that rented a place for 3 million are now looking at paying 8 million, right? People that got a place for 500,000 are now looking at 1.5, right? I have to acknowledge that there is a new bill that's passed in the State Assembly that is pushing for monthly payments of salaries that's protecting tenants, and I think that's a very, very good thing. Implementation of it, our laws are not the problem, it's the implementation of it.
In Nigeria, when you hear technology, innovation, and e-commerce, then you begin to think of the 21st century visionary leaders who have availed us the luxury of connecting with the world without leaving our spaces. Nigeria, alongside some other developing countries, has occupied the tech space, networking and making a brilliant impact around the world, all thanks to people like LSK. I am Grace Komolafe. Join me on the Corporate Maverick as we unveil the journey of a foresighted leader who foresaw the transformation of technology decades ago. The year 2001, known as the third millennium, stands out for some individuals. It was thought like every other regular year to some people as they express the excitement that comes with experiencing a new millennium. While many carry on with the feeling of entering the 21st century, some visionary individuals saw it as a strategic period to bet their thought-provoking plans and business goals. Among these visionary leaders and innovators is Leo Stan Eke, founder of SOUQ Technology, bringing this tech-oriented company to life in 2001. How much do you know about this tech and business-driven giant? Who is Leo Stan Eke? Dr. Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke, popularly known as Leo Stan Eke, is one of Nigeria's dynamic and influential figures, an African entrepreneur born into the family of Ihentuge Eke on February 22, 1956 in Imo State, Nigeria. His mom, a dietitian, and dad, a nurse. His root is traced back to Ubonmiri Mbaitoli, where he was raised in the household that valued education and hard work. His parents instilled in him the values of discipline and perseverance from a young age. It was within this nurturing environment that Eke's entrepreneurial spirit began to take shape. Like many visionaries, Dr. Eke's journey to success was paved with academic excellence. he attended Holy Ghost College in Owerri for his secondary education, where he honed his intellect and ambition. Eke's dream of becoming the biggest transport company owner in Nigeria changed as a result of his encounter in India, where he had his university studies. It was a turnaround moment in his life. In India, he pursued a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from Punjab University, and the exposure to India's vibrant economy left an indelible mark on him and then tilted towards more realistic business ideas. This led him to get full involvement into ICT.
So I'm a very good testimony of an African who started from nothing, okay, and got somewhere, not there, right? Okay, so in summary, I came in here first of all to the University of Nottingham, or Nottingham University. I was in Cork City University, where I was doing computer science, and I wanted to specialize in user interface as a postgraduate course. Okay, and the system, which I'm sure still exists in the UK, is that you have university chancellors who observe you in classes and direct you properly. And the thought, since I was going back to Africa, there was no computers. And if I got there, I could be frustrated for another 32 years. So they discussed with my parents, and they wanted to know if I could stay in the UK and continue computer science. I said, no, I was going back to Nigeria. I have passion to change the country, and by extension, the continent.
He later went on to earn a Master of Science in Risk Management from the Exton University of Nottingham, England, further enhancing his acumen in the field. With his tech startups dating back to the 80s, Eke can be put in the bracket of visionaries who saw that ICT would define the world in no distant time. His ICT Solutions company commenced operation in 1989, focusing on desktop publishing and computer graphics. Over the last 3 decades, the company extended operations from Lagos to Port Harcourt and Abuja, implementing several ICT projects across the oil and gas, telecoms, manufacturing, and public sectors.
I started small, like any other entrepreneur you read today. Okay, some started in the garage. Okay, most of them didn't inherit wealth. Now, so how could they have started? You start with your own. During our time, you have to start with your own sweat. Okay, until you build such, get to such a level with a system and structure in place, and then people trust you. But because our kids today pass through business schools, connected to people, okay, and they now want to go from average above. You understand? Instead of starting, a lot of us started from -1.
Leo Stan Aker's major hits into the business world commenced with the establishment of Xenox Technology Limited in 2001. With a fervent desire to contribute to Nigeria's technological space, he embarked on a mission to manufacture computers locally. Now a world-class ICT company providing innovative products and solutions. Under his leadership, Xenox Computers have emerged as a trailblazer in the industry, earning accolades for its quality and innovation. One of his notable achievements was the attainment of the Windows Hardware Quality Lab Testing (WHQL) certification, showing Xenox's commitment to excellence. In 2013, the company made headlines with the launch of its computer tablet line, ZPad, marking another milestone in its illustrious journey. Dr. Aker's entrepreneurial prowess extends beyond the realm of technology. In 2018, his company Xenox made waves with the acquisition of Konga.com, a leading e-commerce platform in Nigeria. This landmark deal underscored Aker's strategic vision and his unwavering dedication to driving innovation in diverse sectors. Konga.com was founded by Sim Shagaya in July 2012 as a third-party online marketplace. 99% of its shares were acquired by Xenos in February 2018. 3 months later, Konga merged with Xenos retail outfit Udala to form the biggest e-commerce company in Africa, retaining the brand name Konga. Leonard Stanley Eke also founded BuyRightAfrica.com Limited in 2008, at a time when credit card and e-payment infrastructures were still strange to many Nigerians. He did this to resolve funding issues for ICT projects and companies. He partnered with international financiers to help Africans acquire technology and compete globally. Some other of his establishments are Technology Distribution Limited, Tax Direct Limited, and iTech Solutions. He is involved in ICT Brokers and ICT Connect.
Okay, but mine had a call. I had a call on the tech sector, and I've been consistent. And if you remember, my first step was to deal with the doubting Thomases, the media people. And it was like an evangelism. If you prove your worth to press people, to media people, because these are the critics of our time, then they follow you. You get to your destination faster. So when I did the whole media houses, transitioning them to digital economy through digital processing, through from typesetting to desktop publishing, computer graphics, okay, and multimedia. Then they started spreading the news. But again, we had to enhance that profile to the corporate world so that people can run offices with data analytics to guide them on advice, projections, okay, and where they're headed to. And then even our election. Okay, so today there would have been crisis in the economy if elections don't have facts and figures. And we did that with the DDC, and then did authentication with a card reader.
If you've come this far, kindly like, comment, and share. Throughout Ake's career, he remained committed to empowering others and fostering socio-economic development. His philanthropic endeavors and advocacy for youth empowerment reflect his belief in the transformative power of entrepreneurship. He launched the Computerized Nigeria project in August 2000, thereby encouraging development and the use of computers. He also launched the Can I scheme, providing affordable laptops to young Nigerians with a repayment plan of 24 months window. Ake's foundation furthers his charitable efforts, supporting various causes with different donations across the country.
Now, I see entrepreneurs trying to live big. Are you with me? Yeah. I see entrepreneurs trying to show off. You must have incubation period. Every successful entrepreneurs are seen to be stingy because they know the value of every dollar spent. But they use the same money to sustain the society. Okay, so I just want to advise Nigerians here. I see a lot of you startups now selling debt. It means technically you are leaving the company. And if I'm an investor, I watch your lifestyle. First of all, I see an entrepreneur, Nigerian entrepreneur, he hasn't started, he has an expensive car. Entrepreneurs, startups don't drive the best cars. They hide until they emerge.
He was bestowed with the Icon of Hope Award by former President Olusegun Obasanjo on October 1, 2002. He also got Nigerian Science and Technology Achievers of the Year 2003 and Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria OFR in 2004. Eke is also a member of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and holds a life membership, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs. He also holds an honorary doctorate in business administration from Imo State University, Owerri, Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and the University of Jos. He is a fellow of the Lagos State Polytechnic, Lagos, Federal Polytechnic, Ida, and Federal Polytechnic, Nekede, Imo State.
Leadership
is big crisis in the third world. Big subject to discuss. I don't have a complete answer, but as an entrepreneur, I can create platforms for you to decide who should be your leader. But my interest is that I'm excited with this 21st century, because this is the only century God did not create any person to be poor. In the past, many were called and few were chosen. In 21st century, many are called and many will be chosen. But you have to decide if you want to be one of those to be chosen.
Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke is married to Chioma Eke, the CEO of Technology Distributions Limited, TD Africa, and together they have raised 3 sons and 2 daughters who are doing well in their respective fields of endeavors, just like their parents. As Dr. Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke continues to chart new territories and inspire future generations, it speaks to the limitless potential of the African entrepreneurial spirit. With his visionary leadership and unwavering resolve, Dr. Eke embodies the essence of innovation and resilience, creating indelible marks on Nigeria's business in Africa and humanity. Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke.
Anthony Onyemaechi Elumelu was born on the 22nd of March 1963 in Jos, North Central Nigeria, to Susanna and Dominic Elumelu, originally from Delta State. Tony earned a degree in economics from Ambrose Ali University, where he laid the foundation for his future career, and then furthered his education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Owner of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Heirs Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa, UBA, demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
I was born on the 16th day of October, 63 years ago. I'm from Opobo, yeah, and went to school. I'm from River State, from Opobo in River State. Went to school in Port Harcourt, lived in Port Harcourt all my life, from primary to secondary school to A-levels. Then after A-levels, I got admission to Unilag. Immediately after Unilag, I got married, and I've lived in Lagos ever since. Well, it was fun for us because me and my husband were very young. My husband was 25, I was 21 and all that. But we learned on the job. We were friends. We were friends for 3 years when I was in university, and we came out, we got married. So we were like children that just got married. But I had my parents. My parents were his very good friends. So when I get naughty, he would report me to my parents. When I didn't know these kind of duties were demands of somebody's wife, they would tell me this is my responsibility. I'm like, nope. I will agree to some, I will not agree to some. But I mean, it was fun. We had our ups and downs, but we kind of pushed through it. And then the children started coming, and it was a different ballgame. You know, when you come from that kind of family, it's like part of your system. You don't really regard it as anything anymore. But sometimes I get the shock of my life because there was a time my in-laws came to Opobo for one ceremony, and I saw the king. And he gave me a hug and he gave me a pic, and they were like, whoa, the upper Benin won't even shake your hand, you know, as a woman. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's the same family, you understand? So we're used to that. I think we take it for granted. But maybe some other people say, you must call me a princess, you must call me that. I'm not into all those kind of things. I'm not at all, I've never been. So I can't start tomorrow. But yeah, great King Jaja of Opobo, my great-great-grandfather. And my children, when they studied it in school, they went to Corona school. So they came, Mom, we're telling our teacher and our classmates that this King Jaja of Opobo, they told them about King Jaja of Opobo in school. And they said, that's my mommy's great-grandfather. Like, wow, no, it was like a big deal to them. For us, Absolutely upbringing and my personal choice too, because you could be brought up one way and choose to go another way. You understand? One of my philosophies in life is like this: you're not the tallest in the world, you're not the shortest, you're not the prettiest, you're not the ugliest, you're not the richest, you're not the poorest. Oh, of course, get with it. Do you understand? If you're looking for beauty, there are more beautiful women than you. So if you're looking for ugly, there are uglier women. If you're looking for tall, you're looking for it. So what is it? Do you understand? You didn't come into this world with anything. You're not going to go with anything. So just be grateful to God for whatever you have or whatever you are. Work towards improving on it, improving your relationship with God Almighty and improving your relationship with your fellow human beings. That's my philosophy in life. So what's the point of carrying all the air and chips on your shoulder? It makes life heavier for you. Seven is my favorite number. It's a number for perfection, and I was born on the 16th of October. My star sign is Libra. We're always looking for perfect balance in everything. It's just an influence from the horoscopes, I'm told. But J is my husband's name, D is my name, and 7 is my favorite number. Lazy way of forming the name of a company, isn't it? So I did, and it stuck. And I knew I was going to go into couture, so that was it. Easy. I was a victim of circumstances. I keep saying it. I didn't really come into business to be a fashion designer, to go into fashion, and creativity has always been something that's innate. Okay, even before I started making clothes or doing this, I used to always give designers the styles that I want them to make for me. I didn't have tailors. But when I finished my NYSC at Nigerian Television Authority in Victoria Island, I decided I wasn't going to work there. I wanted to work in a more organized setup. You understand? Because of management traineeship, because I never worked all my life. You know, my parents were very protective. I'm the last girl in the family. They were always very protective. You know? So I said I wanted to work somewhere, and I prayed about it. And I got into Unilever. Then it was called Labor Brothers. And for 5 years, but you know, the intensity of work there became a bit much for me because I was a young mother. I had 2 kids then. Was going on having the 3rd one, so it became a bit time. Sometimes Unilever was one of the biggest. When the international directors come in, we used to be the ones to host them with all the Unilever affiliates. Linters, the advertising agency used to be here, all the Nigerian breweries, USC, you understand, AJC, we're all the Unilever group. Sometimes I won't get home until 3 a.m. when we are hosting, and with kids in the house, it can be a bit much. So I'm like, I prayed about it and I decided something has to give. It's either your family, your children will not give them the attention they need then, and they were growing fast, or your job will suffer, and then you will not be happy whichever way. So I decided, you know what, let my priority be my family, and I decided to go back, and I put in my resignation. That was not what I'm fine. When I did, my chairman refused to accept the resignation, so I had to use another way to encourage him to accept it. So I left Unilever. I said, okay, I wasn't the type of person that was suited for being a housewife. I wanted to do the kind of business I would do, but still have 100% time for the kids. So when the kids said, they're having something in school, I'm there, okay? I decided I was going to just market corporate gifts. When I was in Unilever, I was the assistant corporate affairs manager in charge of press. So, and being in Unilever at the corporate affairs level, I already knew a lot of companies. So I used that opportunity to get back to those companies and introduce my new business. And in the first year, I actually made more money than my 5-year stint in Unilever. So that was another encouragement. You make more money doing your own business. You have more time for your kids, for your family, and for yourself. And you travel quite a bit because you have to go and buy the corporate gifts. So it was a win-win. Then, a few years down the line, the president, Olusegun Obasanjo, came in and said they were doing backward integration and they were going to stop the importation of all this corporate gift and a lot of other things. So we were actually forced to look inwards. And when we started looking inwards, that's when it hit me that apart from Big, that was being produced by Eleganza, we're not really manufacturing anything in Nigeria apart from textiles and maybe I think Eleganza was doing food flask or something. Which corporate body do you want to give as end of year gift? So what we had to do now, because a lot of my clientele were like Shell, Chevron, I started looking inwards. I said, okay, if I have to do something, I can do beddings, pillowcase trimmings, table covers, table placemat, napkins with fabrics like Ashok and Adira. I can do jute bags, you know. It came to me. So I had to go and buy one machine and employed one tailor. So sometimes they will call me. I did some samples. So when, even in Abuja, when they were going to have, like I remember the West African Women's Affairs, they had a conference. So they wanted jute bags, and we had about 1,000 or 2,000 jute bags, and that was quite nice. Plus, apart from the end of year activities, so that's it. But you know, after those periods, you have periods of lull, like you're not using the machine and the tailor. You have to be paying tailor for doing it. I'm like, why am I going to these people to make my clothes? Tailor, oh yeah. This is the style I want. I started first by giving some of my clothes, repeat it. You did well. So I started designing. I could sketch very well. I was a science student in school, but I could sketch really well. So I was sketching, would do well. And sometimes when I wear the clothes and I go to supermarket, some women will just call me, hey, I really like this thing you're wearing. Please, where did you make it? I'm like, okay, I'll give you the address. I give them the address. They started coming. Before I could say that, within 1 month, I had over 50 women I had to make clothes for. And the one tailor was no longer enough. I had to employ 2 others. That was how we started. From 2 to 4, then I had a whole factory before you could see that. I started making school uniforms, started doing all kinds of things. And then some of the magazines, like Genevieve magazine, looked around like, are you sure you make this outfit? I thought you were a broadcaster. I thought you sell. I said, yes, I did. So I did some photo shoot session for her, and I modeled the clothes actually. And whoa, I started getting calls from Paris, from the UK. I did DC Fashion Week, I was just, and they will pay your ticket, pay your hotel, please come and showcase for us. Some will even say, please come and open the show for us. Some say, we want you to close the show. I'm like, okay. There are places that I would never have thought of going to, like Burkina Faso. They will back me the top fashion designers there when the Al-Fadi does this they once every 4 years. Al-Fadi in Niger. The Niger government sponsors it. He calls all, including Elisab, every international designer, they will go, especially the Moroccan ones, those North African ones, Indians. So they invite one designer from each country. So they used to call me to come because of what I used to work a lot with Ankara and SOUQ, and I do international acclaimed, how would I put it, couture outfits with Ankara, big hats, funny looking, structured clothes and all that. So that was how it went, And I did all the magazines. I've won all the awards. So after a while, I started thinking of concentrating on exports. In the process of doing that, my husband took ill. After 2 years, we lost him. So when I came back home, I gave a lot of things a lot of thought. My kids were still in school. My daughter got married. She was in Australia already. And then my 2 boys were still in school. So I said, look, this fashion design thing is not going to pay school fees in pounds sterling and dollars. So I said to myself, you know what? Why don't you give the man hours to the industry, the family business that were yielding the most income? That was how I started kind of just saying, you know what, let me just minimize it a bit. My core clients were still coming. So I kept the tailors, my experienced tailors that worked with for years. I kept few of them. And I kind of cut down on that business. I said, you know what, let me just go and face the family business and do this for the people who really know what I'm doing. And word of mouth goes. So I'm still doing that, but my priority is really not that, When you look at me the first time you see me, you see a fragile woman that don't like to sweat, that's spoiled, that like to be kept. I'm like, what? Absolutely not. My husband didn't want me to do anything. He just felt he wanted to spoil me. I said, that's not how to love me at all. Please. It's either you kind of understand the person I am. I'm a very creative mind. This mind has to keep working, or I'll make life miserable for you, What I will advise, even women who are willing to work, you don't even do one job. You must get at least more than 2 streams of income. Otherwise, you will not make ends meet. That is the truth of today's world. You understand? There are those ones that want to be kept, no matter how wealthy your husband is. Wealth is not static. Some people start today. When they retire, everything goes downhill. Some people mean well. They love you. They want to take care of you. But nature calls. They part ways. Some marry other women. Some leave. Some die. You understand? So anything can happen. I will advise them, everybody, try to be as independent as you can. Financially independent. I think you actually earn more respect when you do that. And then also, when things don't work out too well, for the husband, no matter how rich you are. You don't have to put him through too much stress. You can take care of yourself, you can take care of yourself, you take care of him, you encourage him. But let him not feel that the world has come to an end. You know, a man feels happy when he knows that his back is covered, even when he's not making it. You understand? It doesn't make him lazy, it makes him very grateful. Yeah. So I will advise everybody, get something doing. Do something that will enable you earn good income if you can. Do something that you also enjoy doing. I've always believed in garbage in, garbage out. Yeah? Garbage in is the stress abound. You cannot control that. But you can control your attitude towards stress. Stress is the #1 killer and ages of everything in this world. It's your attitude to stress that you have to manage, and that depends on you. What you put in your mouth also depends on you. Your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. You have to be loving. You have to be forgiving. You understand? All that depends on you. So it's actually you that decides whether you're going to age gracefully or you're not. Forget about the genes first. It's true. You understand? Some people are so malicious. When you offend them, oh my goodness. They will carry it in their chest, and the chest will be expanding, and they won't sleep well, and they begin to have problems. Meanwhile, the person you're angry with does not even know you exist. It's crazy. So for me, it's just be free and take life easy. Take it as it comes, and always be grateful to God. I'm too honest and straightforward. It's either I will be killed immediately, or because I will tell you the truth, no matter whose house is God. I don't think I can play politics. I'm not a politician at all. I am a very straight shooter. I will tell you to your face when you're doing stupid things. That was my relationship with my mom, my dad, my husband. So most times, I'm the last girl in the house, so maybe when they were disciplining the first ones, by the time they got to my turn, they were a bit tired. So we could talk to my parents anyhow. But I don't do it to create whatever. I just feel that if anybody worth talking to, is worth talking to with honesty and integrity. And when you want to play politics, they will see something that is black. They will say it's yellow. I can't do that. For the love of me, I can't. So politics is not my call. And because of that, they will not allow your creativity to come out, your sincerity. What's the point? Yes. I'm actually planning some kind of... I met some of my old models that are doing very well. And you know, when you deal with a lot of these girls, some of them have traveled with me to Niger. Sometimes they'll tell you, bring 2 of your models. You know, some of them, we have very good relationship. We're going to do a reunion one of these days. It will be fun. And they are all calling, when are we going to do this? I say, don't worry, we'll get a reunion done. Because we need to revisit the fashion industry, see how things are going. They're doing well. The new ones are doing well. And I just pray that the environment will not discourage them, you know. It's not just Nigeria, it's the world. Whatever is happening in Nigeria is what the truth is. A crate of egg in Nigeria is still cheaper than a crate of egg in the US and in the UK, even with the exchange rate. So it's not just Nigeria, the world is experiencing some kind of... The way I see it is like the pangs of birth before the child finally comes. You know, that intense labor. And then when the child is born, everything is calm and beautiful, everybody's happy. I think we are just towards the end of the labor pain. It's going to get better, but we're going to pass through a lot of that before it gets better. And when it finally gets better, we'll all be smiling. But right now, the whole world, not just Nigeria, is crazy. If you look at international, listen to international news, it's actually crazier than here. I just pray. Yes, I live opposite, I won't even say it, on the street. One of the big men that live on that street, his birthday was yesterday, and the whole street was filled with beggars, hungry people. It was really crazy. I felt so bad. We were pushing each other, killing each other, fighting just to get a plate of jollof rice. It was very sad. It didn't used to be that bad. There were a few people who would come hang around, but the whole street, I couldn't move anywhere yesterday because of it. But I hope it gets better soon, so that the best in all of us can come. Because hunger and poverty can actually bring out the worst in people. Naturally, yes. I have an NGO that I do. What I do, I take girls, young girls that are not able to complete school because of poverty, and I educate them. You understand? I try to pay school fees, help people. I believe in education a lot. Yeah, because I don't believe in giving you the fish. I believe in teaching you how to fish. I have few of them from my place come stay with me. Some of them are able to stand the discipline. Some of them are not able. So the ones that are able to stay, they stay, and they do very well. Some of them I train from a distance, and they do well. So I've had university graduates, I have A-levels, I have all kinds of things. That's what I do. And most people come to me naturally, not because I'm a trained mentor or anything. When you do anything out of love, and out of sincerity of purpose, and because they see you as genuine, they listen to you. You understand? When you mean well, you tell people the honest truth, and they, it's not easy sometimes, but yes, a kind of mentor.
Known as the father of African literature, Chinua Achebe was born on the 16th of November 1930 in Ogidi, now Anambra State, eastern Nigeria. He was born to Isaiah Okafor Achebe, a teacher and an evangelist, and Janet Anenichi Iluebunam, a vegetable farmer. Achebe has reshaped the global understanding of African identity through the power of storytelling. Raised during the twilight of colonial rule, Achebe's education was steeped in both Igbo tradition and the Western values of post-colonial Christianity. As a student at the University of Ibadan, he became fiercely critical of how Africa was portrayed in Western literature. Achebe believed that Western literature often painted Africa as a dark and primitive continent, but he sought to tell the African people's lens. In 1958, Achebe's groundbreaking novel Things Fall Apart shattered colonial narratives through the tragic story of Okonkwo, an Igbo warrior. Achebe illuminated the complexities of African culture and the devastating effects of European colonization. Things Fall Apart became more than just a novel. It became a symbol of African resistance against the oppressive narratives of colonialism. Achebe was not just a writer, he was a passionate advocate for African self-determination, and his political activism made him a critical voice in the post-colonial era. Even after a life marked by personal and political struggles, including a car accident that left him partially paralyzed, Achebe continued to inspire. He taught at Bard College and later Brown University, where his influence reached new generations of writers and thinkers. He was married to Christiana Chinwe Okoli and they had 4 children. Sadly, he died in March 2013 at the age of 82. Chinua Achebe's legacy endures in his novels, his essays, and in the countless voices of African writers who follow in his footsteps. He gave us a voice, a story, and a vision of Africa that is ours to share.
When you visit Lagos for the first time and Google fun or recreational places in the city, at the top of that list will be Freedom Park. Located in Lagos Island on Broad Street, Freedom Park over the years has become home to the Nigerian arts and the culture at large. From annual big shows like the Lagos Theatre Festival, Celebration at the Lagos Poetry Festival, to local festivals that celebrate literature, music and arts, Freedom Park is one of the most visited recreational sites in Lagos for both local and tourist people alike. A place to mingle, unwind, or simply just have fun. Freedom Park, however, hasn't always been a place of fun and games. It has a history that dates to 1861, when Lagos was made a British colony. In 1885, Freedom Park was built as a fortified prison from imported bricks. It was referred to as Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison. Some prominent political prisoners were held in the prison, people such as Herbert Macaulay, Michael Imodu, and Obafemi Awolowo. In 1979, Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison was destroyed, reduced to a dumping ground. It was later rebuilt in the 1990s, celebrated in 2010, Nigeria's 50th Independence Day. Freedom Park still holds a bit of its history within its walls. In the museum, where there are pictures and artifacts. Some of the old prison facilities have been converted into leisure facilities that people visit and enjoy today.
Said is going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizens. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to your regular staple. This is your breakfast show. This is SBL. I hope your weekend was good, and we from SOUQ News Television want to say thank you very much for being part of our production all through last week. Let's do it again. This is the beginning of a new week, so let's work. Now, on SBL today, we will not get tired of talking about an institution that is doing well for now, and we want them to continue, and that has to do with customs. Now, they are looking at a target of 48-hour cargo clearance. Is it possible? Yes. How are they going to do it? We'll find out. Also, we'll also get to talk about some things. Serep is suing CBN. You heard that here. Why are they suing CBN, and what is the story behind that? You have to stay here to also find out. Then, hey, Nigerian breweries, there has been major profit in 2025. Who is drinking all those beers? Hey, we'll get to also find out. That's a story that will make the news today and several other things. Now, also, let's also, we are in the tax regime. It's 2026, and businesses are growing. Also, businesses are planning and making sure that they don't fall short or fall prey or go against the tax laws. So how are they getting that done? Software. Business software is on the increase. Software that will mitigate issues and resolve issues. A lot of things will be on the table today on SBL, so you can't miss it. Remember, go on all social media platforms, all of it, and join us. It's SOUQ News Television. Like, drop your comment, and most importantly, share. Don't stop sharing. I'm not alone on the table today. I have two very handsome guys. Unfortunately, one is taken, but one is still free because you can marry more than one. So, hey, Your Excellencies, join me as I welcome on SBL today, starting this beautiful week, the night itself. Olumide, good morning.
Good morning, Chooks John Rogers. Good morning, Motalamin. Good morning. Welcome to SOUQ Business Landscape. I am Olumide Shokoya. Let's get talking.
Let's get talking. Amin is also here. Amin, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chooks. Good morning, Mr. Shokoya. Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome to SBL.
You're welcome. Now, let's kick it going. Nigerian Customs, they are targeting 48-hour cargo clearance with one-stop launch. Now, the Nigerian Customs Service has unveiled a one-stop shop initiative aimed at reducing cargo clearance time to 48 hours across the nation's seaports and land borders. Now, the service said the reform will eliminate redundant checks, speed up dispute resolution, and improve trade efficiency. Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, announced this plan in Lagos on Saturday during the official launch of the platform. He was represented at the event by the Deputy Controller of Customs in charge of enforcement, Timi Bomadi. Now, Adeniyi stated that the one-stop shop is anchored on Nigeria's broader business environment reforms under Executive Order 001 and the Business Facilitation Act. The framework prioritizes transparency, defined service timelines, digitization, and stronger interagency coordination. Officials say the initiative is expected to lower first trade costs, second, improve port operation, and also enhance Nigeria's competitiveness in regional and global markets. Okay, let's bring this timeline down. On Thursday, it was customs and the over 1 trillion sector for onions. On Friday, it was custom and a new target they were setting for themselves. And on Monday, it's custom and trying to hit 48 hours most for goods to be cleared. Okay, now, is it an agency that is putting themselves out there to show that, yes, we are going to perform, or they are performing already?
They are performing already, and I can see where they are going. Beyond the 48 hours cargo clearance, they are connecting the Lekki seaports directly to the free zone.
Okay.
And they are having a program that even make onward shipping and clearance even faster for the free zone. So what I see is we are building an ecosystem and we are onto something. So the next thing that I want us to integrate is the coastal road is connected to the seaport, is on that axis, and is in progress. I want to see us connect rail.
Okay.
So if we can build an ecosystem and a logistics master plan with our industrialization zone, is going to improve our GDP a lot. And there are countries that have done this same system, build this ecosystem that we can see to mirror. Morocco, for example. Morocco used to depend on agriculture, tourism, and some mineral resources. Today, they have become an industrial powerhouse simply because they fixed their logistics system, just like the way we are doing now. They set up a free zone, they improved their logistics. So, and you know, Morocco is strategically placed close to Europe. It's about 13 kilometers to Europe, divided by sea. So immediately they did this, a lot of companies just came to Morocco to set up shop in their free zone. Do you understand? So you are getting cheaper labor without paying corporate tax. It's close to the seaport, so you just ship back to Europe. And now they depend on that industrialization. Today, a lot of automobile are set up shop producing in Morocco, not because of Morocco or African market, for Europe, because of their improved logistics system and free zone that is connected together. They produce aerospace components now. Different components for airplanes are now produced in Morocco, not for African market, but because they have strategically fix their logistics, and connect it to their free zone. So, and that is what I'm seeing that we are doing. I'm not sure I believe the government is seeing the full ecosystem, but if they are not seeing it, this is what we are saying. If we can connect all of this together, a rail connected to the port, the free trade zone connected to the port, the coastal road connected to the port. We already have an anchor industry in the port, which is the Dangote refinery, which is the largest single trade refinery in the world. And you know that we can have 100 more industries that will be relying on the byproduct from Dangote refinery. So if we do all of this, the port alone is going to be employing directly and indirectly like about 1 million people. And the entire ecosystem, you're looking about 4 million jobs from logistics to the industries in the free zone to the ports. So we are onto something, and custom is strategically placed to properly drive this.
Okay, custom strategically placed to drive this. Your submission gave a whole lot of light bulb effects right now. And I hope, well, customs will get to see this, and also those in power get to see this. Let's step back. Lagos used to be, and is always a beehive. Once upon a time, you could not move from the island to the mainland, majorly because of congestion from trailer truck drivers that were trying to head to Apapa. At a point in time, from Fashola to the next person before the present one, drastic step needed to take place. At a point in time, Dangote had to come and, okay, good, I will fix this road. The congestion has happened, yes, but we still see a lot of that trailer movement and trailer parking right from the market here, Balogun, down till you get to Apapa. And now we've had the addition of the Lekki Deep Sea Port, which if we don't look for how to sort these issues out, we're going to see the same issue happening there. Now, Custom is saying we will clear in 48 hours. That's what they are working towards. He's suggesting the rail. Who should take responsibility now? Should it be the state, or should the state wait for the federal?
I remember it was during Fashola's time when there was a law given that no trailer should move during the day. And I think from around 10 p.m. overnight, that was when they could move. And I think that worked to an extent.
To an extent?
Yes.
But it was not very visible.
It was not very visible. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board, look at that method, that policy. What were the bottlenecks? What made it not work 100%? And if it's possible, let's fine-tune it and bring out something better. Because at that point, I will not lie, during the day, there were less trailers on the road. The only thing was they were parked on one lane, thereby, of course, hindering traffic. Because if they occupy one lane, or one part of the lane, it becomes a problem. So I think there's, and maybe, well, Lagos is booming. Lagos is actually booming. More connecting roads can be, built, bridges and the rest of them. But we just need to look at that particular thing. Then again, looking at this 48-hour, it's a very, very good idea because it's going to take away manual documentation. It's going to take away bureaucracy, bottlenecks, multiple agency checks. But what I'm looking at also, those agencies who have benefited from these bottlenecks, who have benefited from all this, the resistance coming from them. We need to look at that part also. Full digitization is required, which means the people who are going to be handling the computers, whatnot, the technology, also have to be tech savvy. They have to be well trained. It will also improve business, faster business, competitive business, competitive export. Because now I can tell, if for instance, now I'm expecting a shipment, I can tell my client that, okay, in the next 3 days, custom is giving me 48 hours, I can tell you in the next 3 to 4 days, you will get your cow, you get your consignment delivered to you in your house. It's something that would actually ease business. I'm looking at the businessman, I'm looking at the Chinedu in Dumota or this. It would actually improve business. It will actually make, now people can now, and it also boost public confidence. Because if customs is able, just like, what do you call them, the immigrations, how they cleared passport that time. It brought a whole, it opened our eyes to see that. So you can actually get passport in 24 hours. When Tunji came in and all that. So if custom can live up to this, it's not just about coming out to say 48 hours clearance. There was a time custom said they were also going to digitize everything. They were going to bring CCTV, AI, and all that. How far with that? So it's not just about campaign promises. Get to work. Campaign promises, you call it. Okay.
But the last time we were at the customs office, to be precise, the federal customs, they were able to show us their level of digitization. And they've gone very, very far. With officers that were
I also forgot to mention interconnectivity in services, in internet services has to be upgraded if this is going to actually work.
Okay.
The same connectivity we'll be talking about during the election, it has to work.
Okay, it will work because, okay, now I need you to tackle something that he brought up, and those are agencies, government and non-government agencies that have benefited from a lot of these bureaucratic bottlenecks. This slowdown that is, in some cases, is intentional, just to make benefits of it. If you were to be the controller of customs right now, will you even think about them, or look for how to phase them out of the place?
As human beings, we don't like change. And change is inevitable. But people will always be resistant to change. The ports that we run today, there are so many faceless people that serves as agency between the regular people and the custom. They hang around the ports. Those are the people that knows custom officers that make things faster. And the reason why there is a job for those people, quote unquote, is because of the inefficiency of the system. That is why somebody needs somebody that does not work directly with no custom, with no nobody. But simply because they hang around the ports, they know one custom officer or the other, and when you pay that person, the person know the right person to grease their palm to make this thing faster. Now, if you are improving this, if I can get my car or my container out in 48 hours, I don't need to pay extra money to anybody, because this money that you are paying, you don't get receipt for it. It's like bribe. It's like whatever you call it. So now, if that efficiency, and like I said, is an ecosystem, if that efficiency is there, there will be jobs, there are other jobs that will be provided directly or indirectly within that ecosystem. There are so many jobs. Like I said, the port alone, directly or indirectly, we employ 1 million people if we can connect all of these dots together, which is efficient custom clearing, full digitalization of the process, connecting it to rail, connecting it to coastal super highways, connecting it to the free zone, which they're already doing. So if we can connect all of these dots, there will be plenty more jobs. But I agree that at the beginning, there are so many people that are benefiting from this bad system and inefficiency. They are going to be resistant. But, you know, as leaders, as the people that are driving economy, as controller general, their job is to get the job done the best possible way that is best for the system and for the country. And then sell the bigger picture of other things that these people can do within the ecosystem that will be adding value, not adding extra logistic costs for people that are trying to get their containers or clear their goods.
Okay. A lot of times in this side of the divide, a lot of policies and actions are made for everybody based on the negative part of what is supposed to be.
Right.
Typical example. Custom wants you to declare your goods, you come there, you clear your goods, and your goods are out. But because people either don't declare or they under-declare and they hide, a lot of the custom policy is now made from that particular point of view for everybody.
Right.
But outside this country, if you try to get something that is of big size, it doesn't matter, sometimes even of things of small size, you pay your custom duty right from the port of delivery, not even at the port of entry. Do you see us following that particular pattern, whereby any other thing that is not well declared on this particular site, then you face the law directly, and not a policy that affects all of us because a set of people don't declare, under-declare, or hide?
That's the way to go. The major problem that we have as a country is because in the name of quote-unquote human face, we relax a lot of our laws and people just dance on our laws. And Nigeria is a place where even when you know that you are doing something that is not right, you just believe it's Nigeria. When I go there, I will find somebody that speaks my language or that goes to the same church with me or that would have interest in the money that I can use to buy my way. So as a country, we need to change that mindset. For example, there are so many countries of this world that you dare not try that. Even if you under-declare by $1, by $2, you can lose the entire cargo. And, you know, there's a way you look at it and you say, oh, that is bad, that is too strict. But if you look at the flip side, it makes everybody's life easier. You have faster clearance because nobody is trying to. So if they clear 1,000 cargo, they probably have problem with just one. But in Nigeria, you find out that if you are clearing 1,000 cargo, 950 or 990, everybody under-declared. And it makes everything slow because you now have to start checking one after the other just because your laws are not properly executed, you know, quote and unquote, human face. So if we want to get things done in this country, we need to follow our laws to the letter. And whoever is going against the law should face the full wrath of the law.
Whoever is going against the law should face the full wrath of the law. The Nigerian customs have come out to show us that their digitalization is up and is working. They even did some kind of exhibition some time ago. Now, if this is put out there, because you can at least do a lot of your clearance without any human interface. That is possible. 24 hours. Port decongestion is one major thing we'll get to see when this happens. But now let's look at our major ports aside Tinkan, Lekki, and Tinkan's brother on that same side.
Snake Island.
The major one we have is Port Harcourt, but it's not as functional as it can. The Warri port is not as functional as it can.
There was a particular port that
Sapele is not as functional as it can.
Commissioned and we never for about 2 years.
Don't forget
what
about...
What happened to that?
Forget...
At that port.
That's Barrow in Niger State.
Thank you very much.
Oh, well, let's talk about let's talk about port of entry
into
Nigeria.
A whole lot of money, budget has gone into that particular place.
EFCC, listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying and follow up. So let's look at this particular port of entry. Is it possible for subnationals and leaders in subnationals to at least push and emulate what is happening in Lagos for ports within their own territory? If the federal government is not doing it, can't the subnationals take up that task?
They are the closest one to this port. They should see it as, I won't call it corporate social rep, so they should just see it as a mandate. That is why you are elected. You are elected to make life easier. You are elected to govern over a whole state, so it doesn't exclude any other thing. But it's elections, yes, but let's put that one aside. Maybe after elections, some of them would wake up. But I like the fact that Lagos, Ogun, is leading the trail right now. So it means that if Ogun can have its own, I mean, what's stopping every other state or states with port from having that? It just shows where the chief security officer's head is, where he is focused. It's where your focus, it's in a good book, say where your mind is, there your heart will be. So it's something that is not far-fetched. It's just responsibility. It takes guts. That, okay, then again, if you look at it, it's another way of ensuring that business thrive. Because if you take care of that, it will also trickle down to revenue generation, because your state will be able to collect more tax from businesses.
Can I come in, Mr.
It doesn't trickle, it pours.
Can I come somewhere? This is a very important national discourse. And every time, everybody thinks about, oh, every port should be working. But for every port to be effectively working, they need an anchor customer. What do I mean? Somebody that guarantees traffic. Because if you are looking at any port to work, you are looking at least 4,000 people, direct job. So where is their salary coming from if you are getting maybe one container in 2 months, one container in 3 weeks. Even in Lagos, the busiest spot, there is complaint about containers going back empty a lot of the time. Yes. So we cannot be talking about Ogun State, for example, now. They are building the seaports. Yes. But they are doing something strategic. They are trying to start exploring oil. Brilliant. That means they will be exporting crude oil. Yes. And they are building a refinery. So those will be their anchor industry for that seaport. Okay. So you cannot be talking about seaport if there's no industry to drive it, because you need to pay people's salary.
There's a port in Port
Harcourt. Overhead.
There's a port in Port Harcourt. Don't they have oil? If oil is the issue, is the governor that those that are there, are they sleeping? They have oil. There's a port in Sapele, don't they have oil? If oil is the thing that they must export.
No.
There's rubber, there's oil, there's a lot of agricultural products.
Hold on.
So can't they emulate other states?
However they are exporting their oil, now I don't have that information. But what I know for global standard is that for any port to be functional, you need an anchor industry. The reason why Lekki Deep Sea Port has potential and is viable is because of Dangote refinery, and that is what is running it. The Lekki Seaport is an idea that has been conceived for 20 years. It didn't run until when Dangote refinery is ready.
Okay.
So all these places, they have potential, but
can we start turning those potentials to action points and something that we can implement?
Okay, I'm saying this again. Please listen to me carefully.
Are you going to excuse them there?
No, I'm not trying to excuse them. Listen to me. It's a national discourse. I'm saying today, Lekki's Deep Sea Port, even though it's a 20-year idea, it has come to fruition because of Dangote refinery. Dangote refinery is not a coincidence. Lagos State government deliberately caught Dangote and make sure he invested there to be able to give life to the Lekki Deep Sea Port idea. Today, I'm going somewhere. Today, the seaport in Ogun State is being conceived, and oil exploration is going on. Refinery is going on. Everything will come together, will become an ecosystem. Is going to work. So I don't want us to treat all this national discourse on the surface and say, oh, they are favoring one section of the country. So you cannot just pick port is working without looking at the underneath, what is making the port work. So you cannot be fighting for ports when you are not dragging industries to your zone to start working, because those are the people that will power your
ports. What
about
about exporting?
Hold on. The people.
That's what the industries are doing now. They bring raw materials, they export finished goods.
The people in Lagos, the people conceiving that of Ogo, do they have two heads?
They don't have two heads. Hold on. Mr. Chooks, please get my argument.
The people in Rivers, the people in Delta, don't they have heads that are working?
They do have head.
That is why they also use their own head.
My point
in pulling in productivity, just that these people are also doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Now they have industries that can work. Why have they let it not work?
Okay, so now Boa refinery is going on in Akwa Ibom State. So this is what they can do in that axis. Akwa Ibom and Rivers State can come together, build a rail, build a super highway, find a seamless connectivity between the refinery through the coastline to Port Harcourt Deep Sea Port. And the refinery can be an anchor industry for that port.
Akwa Ibom has coastlines too.
But I'm speaking.
Akwa Ibom has coastlines too.
So they can decide to start building the Deep Sea Port too. Or in that region, 3 states can come together and say, let's build our infrastructure to connect Port Harcourt Deep Sea Port, and so that it can become viable and break from depending on Lagos. So, but because if everybody wants to have deep sea port, where is the traffic?
We are looking for seaports because we need to get productive. If we don't get productive, the $1 trillion economy is not going to happen.
Again,
we can't get productive if we don't export.
Mr. Chooks, if everybody has a seaport, you come back to where we are. Where there are so many seaports, there is not enough industrial activity to drive them.
That's what she's saying. Why can't
we get those industries working?
Okay, well, the free trade zone, it took them.
Let's ask ourselves this question.
Free trade zone started in 2006. It took them about 20 years for it to work up to this level to power a seaport. So while you are developing
that's one.
That is one.
The prototype is always the most difficult. Someone has laid a prototype down. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You copy. There are industries at the free trade zone. What should other states do? What happened to Adapam? What happened to the shoemaking in Aba? What happened to the coal in Enugu? There's enough space for them to work.
So that is what I'm saying. You see all these places, they can work on their logistics to connect Port Harcourt seaport. So if each state now see, oh, I have enough industrial activity and traffic that can anchor my port, you can now decide to build your port. But I feel like the first priority now is for everybody to come together to direct traffic to Port Harcourt so that for that region, Port Harcourt can start working. If ships are anchoring directly in Port Harcourt, goods will be a lot cheaper. At least the logistics from Lagos to that region is going to be removed if the ship is anchoring directly in Port Harcourt to distribute to most of these eastern states and south states. Is about 1 hour, 2 hour journey from Port Harcourt, as compared to about 7-8 hours from Lagos to Port Harcourt or that region. You are looking at higher insurance premium, higher money for logistics. So those are the money that you are going to.
You've not added non-state actors. Okay. For those that are wondering, we talk on this table so that we will all get awakened. We need to wake up from our sleep. We cannot keep depending on SOUQ at the end of every month if states refuse to oil the machines that will make their people productive. This is what we are talking about. We can't keep being an import-dependent country. It's going to hurt the progress we are fighting for and looking forward to. Yes, now let's keep going, and it has to do with tax. 2025 Tax Act is driving surge in preventive business software demand. The implementation of the 2025 Nigerian Tax Act, effective January, is reshaping the country's business software market as companies shift towards preventive compliance systems rather than reactive fixes. The reform has created urgency among firms to upgrade infrastructure to meet stricter reporting and enforcement standards. Now, signed into law on June 26, 2025, the overhaul comprises 4 major legislations: the Nigerian Tax Act 2025, Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, Nigerian Revenue Service Act 2025, and the Joint Revenue Board Act 2025. Now, together they strengthen coordination, enforcement, and revenue collection frameworks nationwide. In November 2025, Taiwo Oyedele, chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, disclosed that Nigeria had secured and succeeded in getting agreements with over 100 countries, listen, to access data on remote workers for tax enforcement. Now, analysts say that the expanded global data sharing regime is accelerating demand for automated compliance solutions. Okay. A lot, not just a lot, all apps that you use for trading and other AR reporting and HR reporting outside this country has embedded in them tax features.
Yes.
All of it. So either they help you calculate your income or your profit as your business go, or they give you a platform to file in at the year end or as you make profit. Now, yes, we are just getting into this, and there will be a whole lot of troubleshooting. But businesses are not taking chances. What should the government be doing for apps that are not Nigerian-based, or platforms that are not Nigerian-based, or sales agents or trading platforms that are not Nigerian-based at this point in time?
Well, there are two things. You can liaise with them or have them register in the country. These are the two ways you can do it. You can have them register in the country, like what we tried to do with, was it X or one of those platforms? I think we later went to headquarters in Ghana or something like that. Well, we could have that also. Because one of my concerns about this new tax reform, just like you said, is that if, for instance, now I'm a remote worker, I'm working, it's already embedded, it's already deducted. So am I going to now pay another tax?
No.
Okay.
No,
So now,
taxes is paid, you pay tax to your country of residence.
Residence. So that's what I'm saying. As a remote worker in Nigeria now, am I going to pay?
You are not paying to the country that employ you. You are paying to your country of residence.
Country of residence, good. So it's a good one. I think that if Nigerian government rather, can have some of these platforms, most of these platforms, if they are operating in Nigeria, let them register. So that there's a data sharing, monitoring of what goes in and out. It's a good one.
Okay. I mean, do you share his submission? Or do you think that we are just right now playing catch-up?
We are playing catch-up, but it's not too late.
Okay.
So what I can get from what the editor is trying to say is that now, because there is a need for strict compliance to the new tax law, there is business for Nigerian tech bros and tech companies, which is companies are now trying to rely on technology and application to be able to comply with the new tax law.
Yes, they are. But let's before we talk about what the tech they are most likely going to employ or buy or get into, let's talk about those apps and those other apps and softwares that have been there before. Majorly apps.
Okay.
That businesses are using either for trading or for HR or for management. That outside this country, the tax section is there. But here, it's not been there for us at this point in time. Majorly, maybe trading platforms. All the trading platforms.
Yeah, it depends on the leverage that we have. So, for example, the example Mr. Shokoya gave, like the social media now. So Nigeria, in their huge numbers, are on this social media, and they contribute significantly to the ecosystem. So when the Buhari administration demanded that they set up an office here and properly report the revenue they make from here and pay taxes off of it, they complied, because they cannot do without the Nigerian community on their applications. But there are some softwares that Nigerians use that those companies make money from Nigeria. And if Nigeria push too hard, they can do without Nigerian market. Don't forget, there are so many even softwares and websites that Nigerians ordinarily don't have access to. You need to use VPN to go have access to them. So that means they don't care about the African market or the Nigerian market. So it depends on, everything depends on leverage, on how much you think they are benefiting from your country, either by what they contribute to the community or by how much they spend on adverts. Meta, for example, earns millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from Nigerians advertising on Facebook and Instagram. The same thing with X. We spend a lot of money advertising. The same thing with YouTube. So all of these companies, they have offices in Nigeria, they employ Nigerians, and they pay tax off of the revenue they generate from us. So like I said, it comes down to leverage of what we can say, okay, we can, because the NCC has the power to prevent any of these online applications from working in the country. So it now depends on, does the company need the Nigerian market or not?
Does the company need the Nigerian market or not? Okay, and for those that are working remotely, fear not. You will pay your tax, but you will have double deduction. Confirmation.
Yes.
Yes. Then for businesses also looking forward to having apps that will be able to sort out issues. Hey, don't worry. You can always meet Amin, consult him. He's not free though. We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll talk about CEREB and the CBN suing. Don't go anywhere. There's a lot of money involved. Remember, go to all the social media platforms and follow, like, share. Just click that button for notification. It's SOUQ News Television. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Said is going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigerian content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Hello Lagos, make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. Person go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you say alert the warriors.
Okay, so wanna listen, If you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbuefi. They don't walk that bar road where they warrior for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what, development where they work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbuefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
It begins with the ordinary. A shopper walks into a supermarket, picks a product from the shelf, marked 2,000 naira, and gets to the counter only to be told it costs 2,400 naira. To most Nigerians, it's just another frustrating moment at the checkout. But to the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, it's a violation, one that captures the complex realities of consumer rights and fair competition in Nigeria's fast-moving consumer goods sector. Between March and August 2025, the FCCPC recorded 1,543 consumer complaints within the FMCG sector, the second highest across all industries during that period. The complaints range from deceptive marketing and product defects to poor disclosure of terms and delayed complaint resolution. The FMCG industry, known for its quick turnover and intense price sensitivity, remains one of Nigeria's most competitive sectors. Yet, beneath its vibrancy lies a network of compliance hurdles and market pressure points. Bayo Olaoye notes in this special report that the FCCPC continues to face tough challenges in maintaining balance between regulation and market realities. He explains that some trade associations allegedly adopt restrictive practices such as uniform pricing, high membership fees, and entry barriers, which can distort fair competition if unchecked. In one notable case, he recalls, the FCCPC sealed a supermarket in Abuja in February 2024 after discovering discrepancies between displayed prices and checkout charges, a clear case of deceptive pricing. According to Olaoye's analysis, Nigeria's Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, FCCPA 2018, provides the strongest legal foundation for consumer rights protection in the country. The Act guarantees the right to safety, requiring that all goods and services sold to the public be safe for ordinary use. Unsafe products must be withdrawn immediately once identified. It also guarantees the right to information, ensuring that consumers receive accurate details about price, composition, quantity, and use conditions before purchase. Where goods turn out defective, the consumer is entitled to repair, replacement, or refund. Sections of the FCCPA further prohibit false representation, bait advertising, and exaggerated claims, with sanctions reaching up to 10% of a company's annual turnover. Olaoye points out that state agencies such as LASCOPA complement FCCPC's efforts, helping consumers access information, redress, and awareness of their rights. Despite these laws, FMCG companies operate under immense economic strain. Rising inflation, forex shortages, and unpredictable input costs have made compliance increasingly difficult. Several multinationals have either scaled down or exited the Nigerian market, citing high operating costs and regulatory pressures. Still, as Olaoye observes, consumer protection and fair competition remain non-negotiable principles for any healthy economy. In 2023, the FCCPC fined a multinational FMCG company $110 million for abusing market dominance and stifling competition. Olaoye highlights the case as a major signal of the Commission's resolve to hold both local and foreign players accountable. Olaoye argues that compliance should not be viewed merely as a legal requirement, but a strategic business investment that strengthens consumers' trust and market credibility. He recommends that FMCG firms integrate compliance clauses into contracts, conduct regular audits, and maintain transparent pricing practices. Predatory or collusive pricing, he warns, can damage reputation and attract severe sanctions. The way forward. For Nigeria's FMCG sector, the path forward lies in collaboration, transparency, and innovation. Olaoye concludes that legal practitioners and compliance officers must continue to bridge the gap between policy and practice through staff training, regulatory monitoring, and transparent communication. I'm Moyosore Adibi, SOUQ News TV.
To first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Yes, we are here and we are still talking development and talking issues that affect us. You need to see what happens when the cameras are not live. Now, yes, let's get straight to public resource management. CBN is being taken to court over alleged 3 trillion missing funds, in quotes. Now, an anchor payment. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against the Central Bank of Nigeria demanding a full account of an alleged 3 trillion in missing or diverted public funds. Now, the suit also seeks explanation for 629 billion naira reportedly paid to, in quote, unknown beneficiaries under the Anchor Borrowers Program. SEREP is asking the court to compel the Apex Bank to disclose details of the transactions and recover any funds found to be unlawfully diverted. In a statement issued on Sunday, the organization said the action followed what it described as grave allegations contained in the latest annual report of the Auditor General of the Federation, published on September 1925. SEREP argued that transparency and accountability are essential to restoring public trust and ensuring effective management of public resources. Okay, if there has been one particular group or organization that has always, I will not say always, but they've been there, unlike most other quiet organizations, are we seeing what we should be seeing in democracy?
Yes, we need to encourage civil society organizations like SEREP for what they are doing. That is the beauty of democracy. Hold the government accountable, constructive criticism, and just put eye on the government. Mm-hmm. And I love what they are doing. The government should be accountable to us. And no matter how sometimes SEREP gets it wrong, the government cannot overshare or over-explain themselves. They owe us their explanation. So if something is not clear 100 times, even if they are in the right, and we, the people that they serve, feel confused about anything, it is their duty to explain, because they are just the custodian of our resources. It belongs to us. They are just the custodian. And I love how SOUQ, at almost every week, they stand up to governments. Sometimes they take them to court, like what is happening, to get explanation, to get clarity. And that is the beauty of democracy.
That is the beauty of democracy. Now let's look at outside the 3 trillion. Let's look at the anchor borrower. Now that anchor borrowing fund, there has been a lot of in quotes controversy around it. Do you think we've gotten enough clarity, or there is still a whole lot that needs to be explained on that anchor borrowers fund that was given out?
In the private sector, at the end of the year, there's always an AGM, annual general meeting. Reports are given, audits are revealed, and everybody gets to see the calendar, what happens throughout the calendar year. This is what and what, this is where the money went, this is what and what and what. And if there are any discrepancies, it is tabled and resolved there so that the new calendar can be projected and we can progress further and say, okay, this particular thing worked, let's bring it back. But when it now comes to the public service, we don't get to see that. The Anchor Borrowers Program, I've always asked so many questions. What happened at the end of it? What did we do a review, an audit? Did we do set up panels or committee in the Senate or wherever to find out who benefited? When I mean who benefited, names, actual names with situated addresses, not generated addresses. And what this money was used for, was it profitable? As people come out to say, oh, I benefited from the Anchor Borrowers Program. This is what, look at what it has resulted in.
Okay.
Until we get to that level, we keep having this kind of policies, we keep having this kind of what I call grants, more or less grants, which you don't really have to pay back. Because at the end of the day, who and who benefited and who can say, okay, yes, I benefited, this is how much I paid, but this is what and what I have done so far. And it took, Sarah, how many years was the Anchor Borrowers Program? Well, what administration did it happen?
The Buhari administration.
The Buhari administration. And we are in Tinubu's administration, or going into the next administration. Well, it's the next administration.
Next dispensation.
Next dispensation. And this is just cropping up. The CBN should have been at the forefront of this, because they were the ones disbursing these monies.
Okay, they're disbursing at somebody's orders. Okay, now, before this particular time, 2 top-ranking officials of government, one civil servant and one happened to be a minister, the other one appointed, lost their jobs, down to some of these social intervention funds that could not be accounted for. At a point in time, even we saw parties and community men coming to canvass for their daughters and saying that we still trust them. The human face angle kind of thing. Should we start seeing real, how will I say it? When you fault, you go for it.
And that's the only way we can build a working country. Well, we don't have to be extreme like China. Even countries in the West, when you commit a crime, you pay for it. No matter how long it takes, you pay for it. Even if you turn a new leaf, even if you're not an employer of labor, you are paying your taxes, the judge will just say, oh, I congratulate you for turning a new leaf, but you commit a crime, you have to pay for it. I can give you leniency instead of going for 10 years. Because you're a good person now, go for 12 months, go for 24 months. So if people think that a small crime can come back to bite them 10 years, 15 years, and that's the beauty of the Western system. When a crime is committed, they don't stop investigating, they don't stop working on it. So it might take 10 years, might take 15 years, but they make everybody pay for their crimes. And that is what we want to see. Capital punishments is like what they do in China. I don't subscribe to it. I think it's barbaric. I think everybody can be reformed, everybody can be redeemed. But the most important thing is a punishment that fits the crime should be given to people that commit crime.
If you say a punishment that fits the crime, we heard the news of the guy who 1.4 billion was mistakenly sent to his account, and he said he would rather go to jail than refund that money.
That's the punishment that fits the crime. So he would do his punishment, then come back and...
So he might be killed in China because of that money. because he didn't do anything. The money was just sent to his account, and he refused to release the account.
So if he knows he's going to die, he will release the money.
He will, yeah, but
Thank you. He released the money.
Yeah, but that was not. We are looking at it from one angle. That was not. It was not a premeditated crime.
Okay.
Somebody's money fell into his lap.
Fell.
Yes, now. That was it. Now it was.
But it's not his money.
I like the word fell. Okay, now let's talk about things that are falling, and we are going straight to Lagos State. Lagos State is trying to tell us that, hey, 1.4 million residents are currently being served public potable water. Lagos State has declared that 1.5 million residents are currently served by its public water supply system, offering insights into the reach of the government-managed water infrastructure in Nigeria's commercial capital. Now, the figure was provided by the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources in an exclusive interview highlighting ongoing efforts to expand access to potable water across the state. Officials noted that the supply is managed by the Lagos Water Corporation, which oversees production and distribution through major treatment plants and mini waterworks. The disclosure underscores both progress and gaps in water access for states with an estimated population of about 20 million. Analysts are saying that scaling infrastructure investment, improving distribution networks, and reducing system losses will be critical to increasing coverage and meeting rising urban demand. Portable water, portable water, portable water.
I'd like to ask just one question. How did they arrive at this figure?
Okay. Now, how did they arrive at this figure? Hold on. I will have to call the Commissioner for Environment.
The reason why I'm asking, because the last time, growing up, yes, we were served public water years back. I'm still trying to find out which area, maybe in the remote areas, still get public water. Because
Ekpe public water is still working. The beggar side of the mainland is still working. Iju, Ishaga, they still have waterworks that are working there.
Well, I think that 1.5 million, I think it's over
compared. Okay, let's leave the figure. But
let's look at 20 million.
Okay, let's look at 20 million, and what they say they can do better. So we should hold them to their words. Okay, do better. Majorly for those on the island, we've not
mainland.
Those on the mainland, do you even have you have possibilities of digging borehole that will work, unlike those on the island?
I believe mainland is easier to connect
to the water system.
Water. And the reason is because mainland plan was properly done, and there is provision for pipe-borne water. In fact, pipe-borne water used to run. But the development on the island from after VI, Lekki, up to, all the way to Sangotedo, there's no provision for pipe-borne water. People, because most of the development is not done by government, it's done by estate developers. And they just, so the way the development is done is such that each building will depend on a borehole.
An estate what? For some estates, estate provide
that
water.
Is, I believe that would be like a 2% or 1% cases. Most of the houses from Lekki all the way is each building with its own borehole system.
And that's not nice.
Most of it. So because most of, if you go all the way to Lekki, every house is, there's not even house on public roads. Every house belongs to an estate, like a cluster is fenced with gates and with their own regulation and their own rules and all of that. So I don't see a provision. So if the government wants to run water to homes in Lekki, which is very needed because most of the boreholes are not properly dug, the water did not get to the part where it's clean because it's, because of the topography. That's another topic entirely. But if they are going to run it, it's going to be a lot of digging.
Okay.
To lay those pipes.
While we are looking at a lot of digging to lay the pipes, for estate developers and estate development, I think it will be more economical if every estate can provide potable water to those within the estate. And let's say, give an example, you have 200 houses in an estate. Are you going to dig 200 boreholes? That is a catastrophe waiting to happen. Because
yes, but that is the reality we live in.
Yeah, but the state needs to do better on that particular side. But for 1.5 million, congratulations, do better. Now let's talk about alcohol. Now, brewery economy. Nigerian breweries, they did post 1.467 trillion revenue. Now this a good rebound strongly in 2025. Nigerian Breweries PLC has reported revenue of 1.467 trillion for the financial year ended 2025 December, marking a strong recovery for the brewing giant. The figure represents a 35% increase from 1.084 trillion recorded in 2024, reflecting improved sales performance and operational adjustment after challenging period. Now, the company had faced significant headwinds in 2024, largely driven by macroeconomic pressures, including currency volatility and rising input costs. The 2025 full-year results indicate a rebound supported by strategic pricing, cost management, and strengthened distribution channels. Analysts are saying that the performance signals renewed resilience in Nigeria's consumer goods sector despite persistent economic uncertainties. Nigerian breweries' return to growth also underscores improved market conditions and consumer demand recovery, positioning the company for sustained performance in the current fiscal year. That is some good posting for 2025. And I'm just wondering what amount of the profit that came into tax that was shared across the Federation. This is coming from just one entity, Nigerian Breweries. Now, imagine if we had 4 or 5 of them, and imagine if 10% or 50 or 60% of what they produce is exported. These are, just like you say, potentials.
We have our breweries.
Potential, is it?
We have our local breweries, don't we?
And what we are talking about is we have our breweries and we have a population that supports their production. But we can triple that production if we are able to export to other countries. And right now, Nigeria has a global influence in terms of our movie and our music. So we can use that to sell every other thing. So because America, for example, has used Hollywood to sell almost everything to the rest of the world, from fashion to their clothes to food to everything. And if you go to every country in the world, you find an American food, fast food chain, you find their beer, you find their car, you find their clothes. And all of these were able to do that because they deliberately use Hollywood to market it. They were deliberate. So it's time for us to use this because right now Afrobeat and Nollywood is getting a lot of global attention. So we need to be deliberate to be with what we are doing. We need to start selling our stuff. We need to start talking about Zobo, for example, in our movies deliberately, palm wine in our movies deliberately, and all other things that are local to us. In fact, when foreigners come to Nigeria, you see them, they talk about fufu, they talk about amala, and they want to try it. Guess where they heard it from? From Nollywood. So we need to be more deliberate with exportable food because these are cultural things that you need to come here to experience. But how about things that we can export? And then we will now connect logistics, industrialization, marketing, everything needs to work together. So the government needs to manage and shape all of these things as an ecosystem. For example, government can start putting money into movies that sell African cultures and African products. They can be deliberate to say, oh, if you are making a movie and everybody is wearing Adire, for example, or George in the Southeast, you get this because you are promoting culture, you are promoting our lifestyle. And when government is doing that, we're also keeping a lot of FX within the country. Because if you go to countries like China and Japan, they are able to save a lot of money in their country because they are big on their culture, their clothes. So you can imagine if that huge population of Chinese, they are buying clothes from America. Imagine the kind of money they will be giving to America. But because they have promoted their culture so much, they get to keep a lot of money within their system. See the kind of money Mexico is generating from tequila. How do we know about tequila? From their movies, from Mexican Spanish movies and their music, they talk about tequila. Today is a global sensation. So we need to be deliberate as a people, and this number we are saying from the bureaus can triple, can even times 10, if we are able to deliberately market it and sell it to the world.
Deliberately market and sell to the world. Now let's come to those local breweries you're talking about. Give us the names. And also talk about brand placement, because not just government. We would also need to see brands also put placement on movies and music.
I think some of the movies that I've watched, I've been seeing a couple of strategic brand placements. But the only thing, we need to start doing it better, because when you see brand placement in our local movies, and I'm not trying to, you already know it's a brand placement. It's so deliberate that the camera focuses on that particular brand for 5 seconds. It should be passive. It should be, how will I put it? Not deliberate, basically. So talking about our local breweries, we have a whole lot of them. Even when I was in school, it was the cheapest. It was 100 naira back then, while the other ones were like 300, 400. So a lot of people patronize that. We have the Hero and the rest of them. So if we can start putting them in a film whereby, you know, 2 people in the film, they are in a bar and they're somewhere, and it's strategically, and they order for it. They don't have to mention the name. They just order it and it is brought. The camera flashes it, and that's it. You know, even the clothes we wear and all that. But looking at the our breweries, I don't know whether you've heard about this. Like they say, the beer they take outside, is it lighter? I'll put it, or ours is stronger. I remember when Cardi B came and had a feel of our own beer and stout rather. And, you know, she made good remarks that, you know, it was quite intoxicating. I think she had about 2 bottles and all that. But because she was used to the one back there, which is not as intoxicating as ours. So we also have to look at, even in beverages, we've had a series of cases whereby certain beverages were taken abroad and they were actually not allowed into the country because they did not meet standards. So for us to now start exporting some of these things, it has to first of all meet quality standards in Nigeria and also meet global standards. Okay.
But you know that some of this standard stuff is also to say no to your market.
Yes, to demarcate us, yes, definitely. But if we have a standard regulatory body that makes sure,
so what we need to do is, the NAFDAC in Nigeria, for example, we are targeting the United States, which, by the way, their own regulatory body has acceptance across over 100 countries. Yes. So what you need to do is, you go to FDA, come to Nigeria, come and look at our process. Yes. Then FDA will now say, oh, you people don't check for cancer. You people don't check for 10 years down the line. Okay, how do we get the facility to do that? The FDA will now say, okay, your process and our process is the same thing. You now give an handshake, meaning if you see FDA on any, then Nigeria will go to FDA to look at their process. Nigeria will now say, oh, you are not looking at obesity. You are not looking at this. Then you have an handshake. So meaning when you see FDA in Nigeria, let it go. When you see NAFDAC in America, let it go. Then you now talk to the 100 countries that recognize FDA. That is the US agency, to now say, you write to them to say, FDA now recognize NAFDAC. That means if you see NAFDAC, it's like an FDA approval. So it should pass in those 100 countries. Okay. And you renew this handshake every 2 years or every 10 years. If there's improvement in technology to check other vices in food, you add it to what you're doing.
There was a particular video of this rapper in US, Jay-Z. It was a particular beer company that sponsored the video.
We see that a lot.
We can have that also.
They do, but it now depends on a lot of the sponsorship and brand placement that happen here in Nigeria. Unfortunately, are also done by foreign companies.
So do you understand? So the problem is that Nigerian local breweries cannot compete with the foreign counterparts dollar for dollar. So an American company can give you, say, for example, $100,000 for a placement, which is, if you calculate that by today, is about 140 million for one music video. Bureaus in Nigeria cannot afford that. So that is where sometimes government needs to come in, or patriotism needs to come in between doing business and, doing that.
Doing business and selling your country. Talking about patriotism, let me remind you, I don't think anybody listening or watching us, everybody knows the James Bond franchise. Everyone knows that. And there's one particular drink that has been on that franchise from beginning till today. I won't call the name. And there's one particular car that has been on that franchise from beginning till today. And it's all about selling the UK and their product. And some part of American products too. We need to get proactive and we need to sell. We can't just be coming to the market to buy. Now let's talk about some production thing, and it has to do with livestock farming. African Development Bank, they've approved $200 million loan for climate-smart agriculture in Nigeria. Now the bank has approved the loan to support climate-smart and technology-driven agriculture in Nigeria, reinforcing efforts to enhance food security and productivity. Now, in a statement announcing the approval, the bank said the financing will strengthen agricultural value chains, improve farmers' access to quality inputs, and promote modern data-driven farming practices. The initiative aligns with broader goals to boost resilience against climate change and modernize Nigeria's agricultural sector. The fund will support the second phase of the federal government National Agricultural Growth Scheme, Agro Pocket. The program aims to expand nationwide access to improved seeds, fertilizers, and digital tools that can increase yield and efficiency. Now, analysts are saying that the intervention could help reduce food inflation pressures while supporting rural livelihoods and sustainable economic growth. Okay, some less than 2 years ago, the same bank, African Development Bank, did some approval for some loans to 774 local governments. I had to pause because I'm still looking for the product that came out from that particular loan from the 774 local governments. At what point in time, we won't stop asking this question on this table, are we going to move away from boardroom policies, boardroom borrowing, boardroom farmers, to really get to local government involvement and the real farmers that should be doing this? Musa doesn't need a phone to plant rice as we speak right now. He might need a phone for extension workers, need a phone to sell his rice, but to plant rice and have monies to access, he doesn't need a phone. Dangote does not need a phone, he has one to supply fertilizer to Ukari. At what point in time do we need to get the real people that really cause the real effect in agriculture to sit down and profess these solutions, and not just solutions up there?
I mean, the only branch of government that has business with agriculture, in my own opinion, is the local government. They are supposed to drive agriculture, and I want to see a Nigeria where local government chairman come to brag about agricultural yield at the end of every year. And
at the end of every year, or at the end of every 3 months?
At the end of the year, everybody will say, this is what I exported, this is how much I make. I mean, you can have 3-4 harvests in a year, especially with climate change now. A lot of places in Nigeria now have round-year rainfall.
It's still raining in Lagos.
So you can have harvest and they can brag about their export at the end of the year. It does not matter if the export is in 3 months. And this kind of money should be given to local governments to adjudicate based on performance and productivity. And another thing that we cannot run from forever, that we need to talk about every time to remind the government, is that we cannot maximize our agricultural potential if we don't ranch. Ranch should be a national policy. Cows should not be roaming about the length and breadth of our country. And we can put all the money in this world in our agriculture. If we don't ranch, I'm from the northern part of the country, so I should be sympathetic with elders and to say, oh, it's our culture, it's our tradition. But this is 2026. Nobody should be roaming about with cows children are supposed to be in school learning about better ways to rear cows, better ways to make more money from cows, from milking and other things. And the adults should be in ranch. What we have across the country is you see kids, underage kids, that are supposed to be in school learning about advanced way in agriculture to be able to compete globally, following cows around bushes all year round. We should not have that. So until we have the political will in our National Assembly to enshrine it in our law to ban open grazing, we cannot grow agriculture. Because today, we can talk about everything, but the major problem of our agriculture is open grazing.
Open grazing.
The reason why a lot of people don't want to invest in agriculture is open grazing. So we need to fix that and let the local government drive agriculture from the bottom up.
Okay, letting the local government drive agriculture from bottom up and open grazing. Okay, now he has spoken passionately as someone from the north and someone who open grazing has really affected not just him but his whole community also. Now let's come to you from the west. Do you think we should be having these conversations in boardrooms? Or do you think local governments that cannot come up with this kind of conversations should let somebody else try?
Well, it would still boil down to what I always say, where the mind is. If the local government chairman wants to see his community improve, these are the kind of things he should be looking out for. But while I do not always like this loan thing coming from AMDB and all that, because it all boils down to implementation, accountability, transparency. Those are the three things that if not followed well, it will just come and it will just fizzle out like the Anchor Borough and any other policy or any other grant or whatnot. So how does the Musa or the Kabiru or the Chinedu, the farm, get access to this? That's the thing. Because they are the ones who actually, and like you said, they don't need no phone. They probably don't even know how to operate a phone. So how do they get access to this? It's through the local government. The local governments have a record of those people living in their communities, the farms and all that. They know the specific farmer. Musa has 2 acres or this or that of land where he farms. He should be able to have access to this. And there's monitoring, there's everything to make sure that, okay, all year round, like Mukhtar said, in some states now we have rainfalls all year round, so we can have harvest, multiple harvests and all that. But how do they get to benefit from this loan? Because this probably might end up in someone's pocket. Or the bureaucracies involved might hinder a regular farmer who just knows how to wake up in the morning, go to the farm, and plant. And you have to tell him he has to go to the... So in as much as it's accessible in the local government, we also have to remove bottlenecks, because these are some of the things that would also discourage a farmer, a local farmer. If there are a whole lot of bottlenecks, he gets to the local government, he has to fill in a paper, and they tell him he might have to come back 2 weeks' time. It might discourage him. But then again, if it is done properly, transparency, monitoring, accountability, to ensure that, yes, these people, all year round, local governments, because if Musa is harvesting, he can pay tax. Local governments can generate. The community grows. Musa can not only feed that community, he can also export.
And send his children to good school.
Good schools.
Because his children and your children are all citizens of this country. Now let's move from Musa to the local governments to how they come in the first place. And now the Senate is making electronic transmission of election results optional. After the whole brouhaha of weeks, the Senate has amended electoral provisions to make electronic transmission of election results discretionary, citing persistent power supply and internet connectivity challenges across Nigeria. Lawmakers said the decision reflects practical realities in rural and underserved areas where unstable electricity and weak broadband coverage could disrupt real-time result uploads. Now, they argue that allowing flexibility would prevent logistical setbacks and ensure smoother conduct of elections nationwide. The amendment means the electoral body may deploy electronic transmission where infrastructure permits while retaining alternative method in areas with limited connectivity. Critics, however, warn that reducing mandatory electronic transmission could weaken transparency gains achieved in recent electoral cycle. Supporters maintain that the move balances technological advancement with optional and operational flexibility and visibility as authorities continue efforts to expand digital infrastructure and improve nationwide power supply. Improve nationwide power supply all of a sudden in an election year. That's nice. A lot of go and come, a lot of agree and don't agrees has been generated from this particular electronic transmission of election results. And this is where we are right now. The Senate is saying, okay, good and fine. Where there's connectivity, upload. Where there's no connectivity, no stress. Where are we right now?
I get the sentiment of the opposition and a lot of Nigerian young people, and I understand the Senate as well. And I stand with the Senate.
Okay.
Because the law should be made on present condition of what we have.
Okay.
Now, everybody is clamoring for real-time electronic transmission.
Okay.
Now, the Senate is asking, what is the practicability? Is there network across the country? We have had NCC come forward to say there's only 93% coverage.
Okay.
7% of the country is not covered.
Okay.
Now, the 93% coverage, how reliable it is? It is not reliable. As Nigerians, we know sometimes we go 6 hours, 4 hours without network, even in capital cities. So what is the guarantee that on election day, there will be full coverage? So the law has provided for the INEC representative to transmit results electronically. However, they've compulsory the electronic transmission, but they have give a clause to reflect the practicability and the reality on ground that in a case where there is no network, you collate manually.
Okay.
And I don't think that should be any problem. And now people are clamoring for, INEC should use Starlink to guarantee network across the country. Two things is wrong with that. Number one, we cannot leave our sovereignty, our election in the hands of a foreign body. That is one. Secondly, we cannot say, INEC, your mandate is not building hospitals in one hand, and then asking INEC to provide internet on the other hand.
Okay.
So they should face their core mandates strictly. And it is a dangerous slope for we asking Starlink to power our election. Because Mark Zuckerberg, few years back on the floor of the United States Congress, agreed that he sells people's data on Meta for money.
It's no longer news. So your submission, well noted, our time is almost gone, but I need to hear your speech.
Not to counter what he said, but we've seen some states or some places in some states where there's no road network, but polling booths gets there.
Definitely.
We've seen where someone laid tar on a road so that polling booths could get there. We've seen also someone uproot a particular area so that
voting will not get there.
So I think until when we are ready to make this thing compulsory, we will get there. But now I think we're not just ready. That's just the truth about it.
Okay, why he says we are not ready and he goes with the Senate, we'll go with this. We want the best people in the office. Definitely we can't get the best people because that's not possible. But whoever occupies the office, wherever, council or down to local government, do the reason and do what you were elected to do. We need the development. It's not the election year or the election itself that is more important than the lives of the people. The election year is just the voting. The lives of the people is way, way more important. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you very much for staying tuned to us. We want to talk about the China news and the zero tariff, but don't worry, we can push it to tomorrow. We want to say thank you Remember, go on SOUQ News Television and like. Yes, we do. Follow us and also share. Let's continue this conversation outside the studio. My name is SOUQ, John Rogers SOUQ. Nobody is more Nigerian than you. So, hey, play your part. Have a beautiful day. Olumide.
It's been a pleasure staying with us. Olumide Shokoya. Stay safe.
Thank you for being part of SBL this morning. Have a beautiful week. Thank you very much.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. Person go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so Mona, listen, if you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk Daba road where they worry for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because why development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Uyemike, aka Ogbefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
Welcome to the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC. ADSC is an organization focused on training and research to advance sustainable development and growth in Africa. We exist to facilitate customized training, research, and study exchanges worldwide on leadership, management, and critical development issues. The center offers a platform for the exchange of ideas and best practices. Our comprehensive services encompass research, consultancy, capacity building, training, and education programs, as well as publishing and disseminating development-related knowledge. Our faculty consists of experts and researchers with extensive experience in policy formulation, implementation techniques, and monitoring and evaluation. Our methodology involves talks, individual and group exercises, games, video screenings, and discussion seminar sessions in a cozy atmosphere, making learning enjoyable for our participants. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website at www.adstudiescenter.com to learn more about our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Cocoa remains a significant cash crop in Nigeria, predominantly produced by small-scale farmers in the country's southwest region. Historically, cocoa served as a major source of foreign earnings until the 1970s, when the discovery of petroleum shifted the focus away from agriculture. Despite various challenges from its introduction in 1807 to the present, efforts by successive governments and the resilience of cocoa farmers have sustained its production. To better optimize productivity and ensure fair prices for farmers and high economic returns for the government, the Cocoa Marketing Board, CMB, was established in 1947. However, the goal was not totally achieved as pricing policy weren't favorable, discouraging farmers from producing export crops, and that eventually led to the boat abolition in 1986. These resulted in reduced yields and lower quality cocoa beans. Meanwhile, the millennium era witnessed a shift in farmers' focus towards more economically viable crops like oil palm due to the high cost and intensive care required for cocoa production. Cocoa production faces several obstacles, including limited access to fertilizers, unfavorable climate conditions, pest infestation, poor infrastructure, and land shortages. Also, herders' attacks on farmers have deterred farmers from expanding their farmlands. According to research, despite challenges, cocoa production has empowered many farmers and more stakeholders in the value chain, improving their living standards, enabling them to provide education for their children, cover medical expenses, and build better homes. Concerning the future of cocoa farming in Nigeria, there are mixed opinions among farmers. Some are hopeful that government reinvestment and addressing current challenges can revive the sector's past success. Others are pessimistic due to the persistent issues and the trend of farmers shifting to other crops. Regardless, hope remains for the sector. Solutions like improving land-labor relations, infrastructure, and financial support could revitalize cocoa production, reduce out migration, stabilize prices, and enhance value chain development, ultimately securing a brighter future for Nigerian cocoa farming and its stakeholders. Ojai Michael, reporting for SOUQ News.
Human ingenuity has birthed remarkable innovations, none more so than the rise of intelligent machines. Computers, once more calculators, have evolved into sophisticated systems capable of mimicking human thought processes. Powered by artificial intelligence, AI, these systems are learning, problem-solving, and making decisions that were once exclusive domain of humans. From accelerating scientific discovery to tackling climate change, AI's potential is vast, but perhaps its most profound impact lies in healthcare. Artificial intelligence, AI, it's no longer a futuristic concept. It's here with the potential to revolutionize patient care, diagnosis, and treatment. AI is emerging as a powerful tool in the hands of medical professionals. From detecting diseases early to optimizing treatment plans, AI is demonstrating remarkable capabilities. It can analyze vast amounts of medical data to identify patterns and predict outcomes, aiding in more accurate diagnosis. Also, AI-powered robots are assisting in surgeries, improving precision, and reducing recovery times. However, despite its promises, challenges persist. Concerns about data privacy, ethical implications, and the need for robust regulatory frameworks are hindering widespread AI adoption. To fully unlock AI's potential in healthcare, collaborative efforts are essential. Healthcare providers, researchers, policymakers, and technology companies must work together to develop and implement AI solutions responsibly. By addressing ethical concerns, investing in AI research, and creating supportive regulatory environments, we can accelerate the integration of AI into healthcare and improve patient outcomes. Joy Chuma, SOUQ News.
The Trump administration has once again thrust U.S. immigration policy into the global spotlight with the recent announcement of a new voluntary self-deportation program that offers a $1,000 stipend to undocumented immigrants who agree to leave the country on their own. This incentive-based strategy is a calculated shift from the traditional, more aggressive deportation measures and is already stirring debate among policymakers, immigration advocates, and the public alike. The program, introduced in early May 2025, is being implemented by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It allows undocumented migrants to register for voluntary departure using the CBP-1 app, after which they will receive a government-funded flight and a $1,000 stipend upon confirmation of their exit. Homeland Security officials argue that this move is designed to save taxpayers significant amounts of money. According to data provided by the DHS, a forced deportation process costs the government an average of $17,121 per individual. In contrast, the stipend program is seen as a cost-effective alternative that also reduces the strain on overcrowded detention centers and court dockets. This new measure is a part of a broader, intensified effort by the Trump administration to curb illegal immigration and tighten control over the U.S. southern border. Since returning to power, President Trump has reinstated several policies from his first term, while introducing new ones aimed at deterring undocumented migrants. Deportation numbers have surged, with nearly 66,000 individuals removed from the U.S. within the first 100 days of his new term. Family detention centers, once heavily criticized for their impact on children, have been brought back into operation, while legal aid for unaccompanied minors have seen severe cuts. These developments come at a time when the United States is experiencing a historic high in its foreign-born population. As of 2023, nearly 47.8 million immigrants were residing in the U.S., with an estimated 11 million of them undocumented. Many of these individuals have lived in the country for over a decade, raising families and contributing to the economy. Immigrants, regardless of status, are a vital part of the U.S. labor force, contributing billions in taxes and significantly shaping industries such as agriculture, construction, and caregiving. Critics of the $1,000 self-deportation offer argue that the program may oversimplify the complex reasons behind undocumented migration. Many of those targeted by the program have deep roots in the U.S., including U.S.-born children, community ties, and long-term employment. Human rights organizations warn that such policies, while less aggressive on the surface, may pressure vulnerable individuals into making life-altering decisions without legal representation or full knowledge of their rights. There are also concerns about the ethical implications of offering monetary incentives for departure, particularly in cases involving asylum seekers or those fleeing violence. From a strategic standpoint, the administration insists that this approach is a practical way to reduce the migrant population without resorting to mass raids or extensive